All right, should we get started here?
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't already hit record,
Not yet. Here we go.
You haven't hit record yet?
I have not hit record yet.
Dude, you've been just killing me. It was just gold.
Just gold.
I'm just drip. My mouth drips gold at the very top of the show, and you never hit record in time to hear it just drip off my lips.
Drip a little drip.
My baby's in the backseat, reading a magazine. I'm in the front seat, cooking up a dirty scheme.
Welcome to What We Into. I'm your host, Lawrence Dial, with my Casey Kasem voice on. I'm here with my co-host.
And I'm your boy, Rob Karma Robinson, and I do not do the Casey Kasem voice.
I think we're linked physically now.
No, I hope not, because I don't want our cycles to be
it's like our lady cycles are synced.
I don't want our cycles to link like
No, yesterday I woke up and I couldn't move my right leg. It was like that thing, I don't know if you've ever had it, where like you feel like a muscle is just so tense in your leg that you can't bend it, you can't bend down, it's all connected.
You know, it's interesting he said, because I had that exact same thing happen to me, because I was doing this reading earlier in the week for one of the major play people here in the city. I forget.
Tony Kushner.
It's like Playwrights Horizon or something.
Oh, okay.
It's like the ESPYs.
Oh, the ESPYs.
Yeah.
ESPYs.
I mean, I think
primary stages.
Primary stages. That's the guys.
Yeah.
I was doing a reading for those guys this week, and in the reading, like I played like one of the leads, and I had like the bulk of the lines, and so I'm basically standing for a good portion of, I'd say probably like the entire reading was maybe 2 hours, but I'm standing for like an hour and 30 of that 2 hours, and plus rehearsals. Like, we had been in rehearsals, we had like 6 hours rehearsals for.
Was this one of their espadrilles?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was one of their espadrilles.
And Miranda Wilson.
Yeah, Miranda's who brought me in on it. And
Sarah Matucci. They don't listen to this podcast.
Sarah Matucci.
I love Sarah, and I love Miranda.
Very, very complimentary women. I love them both. I mean, I've known Miranda since she was a freshman at UE. Like, I helped her move in.
Yeah.
So like, she always looks out for me. She calls me up when they.
That's good. Good for her. Which was the play? Because I was on the board that picked those plays.
Oh, word! It was
the board. It wasn't a board. It was a group of us.
It was called Uncle.
Yes.
The Life and Times of Uncle Remus, as told to him by Aaron Coleman. It's a long name, but it's a motherfucker of a play.
Yeah, I didn't even read that whole play. We had to list them. I got through half of them, and I was behind on all the plays, but that one was so good that I was like, you know what? This one's going. And unless there's a whole bunch of other plays by persons of color playwrights that are focusing on these kind of issues, then this one's definitely going to be a pick.
Well, that's awesome, because I was actually one of the things I asked Miranda about when we was all said and done. I was like, it's interesting that they picked this play, and then it's a person of color, because I was talking with Larry's like one of the best writers that I know. But I think he's had a hard go of it, being the fact that he's, a cisgendered white guy. I'm like, that era of playwright is done. I mean, he's like
loosely cis.
Fluidly cis.
Fluidly cis.
More cis.
It's more situational than my cis is situational.
Situationally cis. But yeah, and I was like, it's kind of
put me on a desert island with nothing but sexy men. We'll see what happens.
I know for me, I'll be like, yo, fellas, it's not going down, so I'm just gonna go throw myself.
Because you know how you go to jail and you turn gay.
That's all you got. I don't think you turn gay and go to jail.
Well, I know.
I think the option is there, and then you're like, yeah, sure, why not? I'll when in Rome,
your gayness blooms, because that's. But then as soon as you get out, then it shrivels and dies.
I think your options of being more fluid are I don't know. Some cats go in and they stay. They stay.
You know what?
They stay. No, but
anyways, yes.
Circling back to what we were talking
Please, let's talk more about how I have it hard as a white guy and how you stick up for me.
No,
I want to hear all about it.
We're not going to stay on that subject. We're all that to say, circling back around it. I was standing for a long time, and I had this quivering, I was like. There was one point where I was sitting down, just just regularly sitting down, and my legs started to do this like weird quiver shaking that I had never had, and I was like, "Huh,
I'm getting old."
I was like, "That's strange. Why is that happening?" And then I had to think back. Oh, right, I was standing for the better part of 7 hours.
Well, yeah, okay. So I'm a host at a restaurant. I stand for 8 hours.
So that's why you have that problem.
Sucks. That's exactly
that's probably why you have that problem.
And actually, that it's funny. It's when I stand and then like I think Sunday and Monday I was working on pages to take to this class at Primary Stages, same exact place. So I sat for a long time, and that's what did it. It's not the standing. The standing's actually you won't pull anything standing. It's when you go from standing to sitting.
Yep.
For a long
that's when it started to happen to me. I was just sitting down. I went to sit, and I was like I just felt the muscles start to do this weird
that twitch.
I was like, that's unusual. It's a sensation like. And this brought up the subject. I was talking to this other guy. I was like, damn, when you get into like those mid-30s years of your fucking life, it definitely is like, oh, now this is the shit that happens. This is what you do now. Now I just
I
put on Ben Gay.
I can't even sit right anymore.
Now I just put on Ben Gay every night. There's always. I guess now my knee just pops whenever I walk down the street. I guess that's a thing that happens now.
Look at this.
I was like, I didn't even ask you about why you're wearing a wrist brace.
You just assumed now he's old. Shit happens.
I was like, that motherfucker, chronic masturbator is what that is. I was like, oh, chronic masturbation injury. He's fine.
I was going to see how long you can go before you die, per our conversation last episode about Captain America.
And?
I don't know. My wrist gave out.
Oh, inconsistent.
So the Taskmaster, when he tries to masturbate to death.
The who what now?
Taskmaster. Said it wrong tonight. I'm taking this
Bang.
off. I feel like this...
I didn't want to make you feel self-conscious.
No. I feel like it's like you're a shark and this is like blood in the water. I can't show you any weakness here. I can't show you any weakness. I'm gonna take my shirt off.
If you want to put the pull-up bar in the door and just start doing some pull-ups while we do this podcast.
I just get like I actually thought about for a while getting this little like mics that you can attach to your shirt.
Oh, the clip mics.
Yeah, the clip mics. Like TV, like we're on Jimmy Fallon.
Okay.
Then we could walk around and like do activities while we're doing the podcast.
Why would we want to be doing activities?
Because I got stuff to do.
I literally drink beers almost every time. Why would I want to do anything?
Okay, you would stay here. I would walk around and like clean my apartment.
So you're saying that you're better than me?
No, I'm saying she will beat me if the house is not clean when she comes home.
Damn, bro, I didn't realize it's a hard knock life.
It is
for Larry.
So we actually signed up, speaking of getting old and all this stuff, we signed up this week for me for insurance, $800 a month.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, because this wrist thing that I got it's basically a degenerative tear of something in here. It's worn down cartilage, which never grows back. But I have to go to a doctor. They're going to give me an X-ray, but that's not going to find anything because cartilage and ligaments and tendons, they don't show up
on X-ray.
So they had to give me an MRI. So I can't just get like the normal $140 a week insurance. I got to get the $200 in insurance to pay for all this stuff. So now we're like $800 a month we got to pay for insurance.
Are you serious?
And that's like our fun money.
Oh,
that was we went to SHAZAM this weekend. Took the family, took the kids.
It
was that money. Huh? Yeah, we all saw it. Yeah.
Did Laurel see it too?
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
This is going to be our SHAZAM episode if you don't know, if you've made it.
If you made it this far.
10 minutes in. And we're just meandering
through our lives right now.
About our injuries.
This is our format, though. We meander through our lives a little bit.
Right.
Then we talk about the news. Then we talk about what we're into. And then we talk about the subject matter at hand.
Oh, man. Speaking of things that came up, there is a new song that's out. I have to find it here. Hold on one second.
Well, I mean,
and
you got to... See, this is that part.
It is called. Hold on.
All right. Oh, I was gonna say this is that part as a DJ where you gotta learn to put your record down and get it synced up.
I just have too many pages open. So have you heard of the Ant-Man versus Thanos, the Thanos theory?
You mean Thanos?
No, Thanos.
No.
Okay.
I have
so
no
basically,
idea.
it's about how a lot of people started jokingly, but sort of seriously, predicting that the end of Endgame would be when Ant-Man gets really small and he crawls inside Thanos' anus. The Thanos of Thanos. And then expands and blows him up. He's just shaking his head.
I mean,
so
I don't even know where to start unpacking that one.
It's a good theory. It could work.
That's a theory that Marvel is going to do. They're gonna CGI Paul Rudd so small and have him crawl into
purple anus.
Josh Brolin's purple asshole.
Yeah. Do you think it's dark purple? I think Thanos is.
Honestly,
anus?
I didn't spend that much time thinking about Thanos' shitting mechanics. How do we know he has an anus? Maybe Titans don't have anuses.
Is he a Titan or is he an Eternal?
He's a Titan.
I thought he was an Eternal.
He's from Titan, so he's a Titan.
That's like being like human versus
an Earthling.
Yeah, versus a South American, or versus like an Indian.
I'm pretty sure he's a Titan.
Yeah,
that's his species,
right? But is he actually? His brother's an Eternal.
I guess.
I did some research.
Oh,
I know these things.
We're gonna this is where you come this week and you're like, he's not gonna one up me this time. All right,
take out the sword.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I don't know if you can hear it over there, but I'm going to turn it up, and we're going to listen to this song, which is called "Get Small," and it's by Bone Cage.
I'm gonna get real small and crawl inside your butthole. Crawl inside your butthole. Butthole.
Wow.
Get real small and crawl inside your butthole. It's 5 minutes long. We're going to listen to the whole thing.
That's all I've got. I don't have any words for how terrible that is. I really don't. It's, like even the fact that someone took the time to theorize this theory, to be like,
a good video too.
Ant-Man. There's a video to it?
Yeah.
No, thank you. Check, please.
Check, please.
And bring the car around so I don't have to wait.
Well, okay.
My God, sir. Was that part of your research this week?
Yeah. It's out there. It's not like I did like deep research. This was just like out there on the places. The Thanos theory is what they're calling it.
I don't even have. I mean, I don't know where you're searching, what part of the web you're scouring, but it had not come up. It had not come up.
So you had not heard that?
I had not heard that.
Did you hear that Hawkeye is getting his own series on Disney's Plus?
I did hear there was talk about it. I didn't think that was confirmed. Are they confirming it?
Oh, yeah, man.
That's for sure.
Jeremy Renner.
With Renner. He's going to come and play Hawkeye in it. Episodic?
Yeah, episodic.
Okay.
So that means we got the Loki kind of Forrest Gump, basically Loki through time, doing Forrest Gump type things.
Right.
Right. That also means we've got the Scarlet Witch and Vision.
Right.
Right. And we also have the rumored, what is it? Not Hawkeye.
Hawkman?
Falcon and what's Bucky Barnes' character? Winter Soldier. That's supposed to be another spinoff.
Huh.
All of these on Disney Plus. Sound interesting?
Not interesting enough for me to pay for Disney Plus, but it sounds interesting enough for me to see what they're going to try to do with all these different properties.
They better be good, right?
I don't see, and I think that's never been. Marvel has had issues with their episodic television shows being even halfway as good as their movie properties. The MCU has killed it. Whereas the
MCTV
has been garbage.
What is it? It's not MCU because it's Marvel Cinematic
It has to be MCU.
Universe. Right.
Because it's
Marvel MTVU is what it would be.
MTVU?
Yeah. Okay. Marvel Television Universe. Yeah. They're not exactly together.
Well, they try very hard. They are together. They are in the same universe, but they don't do a good job of linking them.
Yeah. These are going to be 6 to 8 episode story arcs, is what it says.
Oh, so they're going to be short seasons.
Yeah, short seasons, which is, I think, a lot smarter than being like, let's cram 20 episodes in.
Yeah, no, definitely works in their favor. I think with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they didn't know what they had, and they made as many episodes as they did for that first season, and it kind of hit, and then they were like, I guess this is the format we should continue doing.
Yeah,
and
no, don't do it that way.
Yeah, don't do it that way.
Yeah, I'll get into another short series that was on Netflix when we get to what we into. But I would rather have 8 good solid episodes that don't meander than 20 episodes of like, hey, and here's an episode with our lawyer. Wow, he's got a lot of drama going on. Like we don't care.
Do not.
Yes.
Care. Yeah.
What about you? You got something coming up? I got more Marvel news.
No, I mean go ahead news wise. It's been.
Yeah. Well, Marvel Studios, they have they've sort of slightly announced their 5-year Phase 4 plan.
Oh, really? So
coming up?
They told you what movies we're getting.
Yeah, and it does not include X-Men.
It does not.
Yeah. It'll be a while, quote unquote, from Kevin Feige.
Wow.
As he told IO9. So the 5-year plan likely starts with movies such as like Black Widow, The Eternals, Shang-Chi. Have you heard of that one?
Shang-Chi, yes.
Yeah, I can't remember if we brought that up or not, right?
Yeah.
and so it could potentially, they don't want to talk about too much because it could ruin some things for in-game.
Okay.
Right? And we also got Black Panther 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and so that's about a good 5-year chunk right there. And we got the new Spider-Man coming out. But we're not going to get X-Men until probably 2025, 2024, something like that.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And then they'll probably reboot it all.
I mean, because I feel like after this one that's going to come.
Dark Phoenix.
Ugh. I feel like
that
after,
sounds so good.
It sounds like a dumpster fire inside of a trash fire inside of a garbage fire.
Yes, inside your anus.
Why is it always about my butt?
Thanos is anus. Inside Thanos is anus.
Jesus Christ! You don't say Thanos is anus any longer.
All right, I'll try not to.
Don't say that. Just
Thanos is anus.
Let it go. Let it go.
Out of all those movies, which are you most excited to see? Black Widow, The Eternals, Shang-Chi, Black Panther. That's like a slam dunk. It's like Abby.
Duh.
I think I'm probably actually Black Panther 2.
Because almost all the other ones are going to be origin stories. They're going to have to introduce the world of these characters and tell another origin story.
Yeah. What's the deal? You don't like origin stories?
I like origin.
Doctor Strange too as well. That's another one. That doesn't.
I like origin stories for characters that I enjoy. Like Spider-Man, love that.
Yeah.
Hulk, sure, any day of the week. Daredevil, absolutely. Tell me his origin story. But
yeah,
for characters I don't care about, I don't care. I'm like, don't
articulate.
I'm gonna try. Let me see.
I'm not editing this whole thing.
Well, Shazam would be a perfect example.
Yeah,
and we can talk about when we get.
I can just tell by your enthusiasm that it was your favorite superhero movie so far.
Right. Shazam would be a perfect example of my feeling towards these types of characters.
Let's go. No, let's not. Well, hold on.
But no, you got anything else newsworthy?
Yeah. So in talking to MTV News, the Russo brothers, this is all getting very heavy because there's a lot of Marvel news because Endgame comes out in like 2 weeks. We got to get tickets.
We haven't even talked about Endgame.
We're going to get tickets today.
Are we getting tickets?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, we haven't even talked about when we're seeing it.
I think we're going to see it Thursday night.
So
at like
the day
11
before.
o'clock. Yeah, because I work Thursday. I'll get out at 10.
I think I worked that. That day too.
Do you think it'll be done by 10?
I have to look it up.
Yeah,
I think I should be.
But if we get the seats that that are like, and I'll talk about this when we get to Shazam. But if we get the seats that have like the number on it, then we can just show up and just roll in at the time. We don't have to sit out there and wait in line forever. Mm-hmm. They charge you extra, but it's kind of worth it.
Oh, that's how I saw Shazam. I went on the matinee because I was like, I'm not paying full ticket price for it. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I still ended up paying like $15 for my ticket. So
much, right?
It's
like $86 to take my family just in ticket prices.
Oh my god. Like if it were me, I would like, I love y'all.
Yeah.
But I'm going by myself.
I'm
going by myself.
Next time it's gonna be like, I love y'all, but I have to pay for my insurance. Dad is getting old, and unfortunately, that means we're going to sit around at home this week forever because we have no money. Enjoy. No, so in talking to MTV News, the Russo brothers, they were talking about which Marvel crossover event would bring them in for one last job. Do you want to take a guess of what it is?
No.
Okay. So they say, quote, it's fine with me. Quote, I keep saying Secret Wars because that was one of the first books that I really fell in love with as a kid. Okay. This notion of event storytelling. That's Joe Russo.
Okay.
And he says, that's part of the reason that we gravitate so strongly towards these event films and these ensemble films is that the notion that you can contain so many different characters and so many different points of view and galvanize them around a story point is really compelling to us. And you've kind of called that. That's what you said a few episodes back would probably be the next big event thing. Yep. So that's 10 years away probably.
It makes sense. I mean, it makes sense.
You're going to be 48.
Don't do the math on me, dog.
I will be 29.
Yes.
Not even funny anymore.
In opposite land.
I will be 29 years away from death at that point.
No, well, you know what will be 29? The parts that they put in your ass at that point. It will be 29.
29 different screws and bolts.
Yeah, we're like, yo, these screws are 29.
My wrist feels like a bag of marbles. It's like all the bones are just like shaking around in there. It's
That's
like,
the saddest thing I've ever heard. Did you hear that Netflix is launching a comedy radio station?
No.
Yeah,
are we on it?
Are we on it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think are we comedy?
Could be. Yeah. Some people, I
comedy?
imagine somewhere out there somebody finds this funny.
I mean, Sri Lanka probably some of those obscure places that we've had a few listens. But Netflix is launching its first audio only channel that will broadcast snippets from the streaming platform's comedy specials.
Sweet.
Around the clock, in addition to original content.
Oh, I get it. So all the live stand up stuff, like Irresponsible,
right?
You'll get like the rights.
They'll give you like little clips of it, like, but this will be like all the time. They'll just be, and then I guess they're having some original content that's going to drop. I think it's called Netflix is a Joke Radio. Will launch on April 15th. On
Netflix is a joke
on Sirius XM and channel 93. I guess is what would it be on Sirius.
All right.
Yeah, so
I don't listen. I'm sure there's tons of comedy out there on podcasts, but I don't listen to any.
No, I mean there's a lot of comedians that do podcasts for sure.
Yeah, do you listen to any podcast? They're way funnier than that. So
I listen to ours especially, and I listen to bits of Joe Rogan. I don't listen to Joe Rogan's full thing. I listen to like the little because like I subscribe to his YouTube channel, and he has it where like he'll break his show, his like 2-hour thing into these little slices of different subjects. So like it'll be like Joe Rogan and such talk about this bit of whatever. Joe Rogan and such talk about this bit of whatever.
Occasionally I'll tune in for something just to remind myself kind of how dumb he is. Because he gets by with a lot. And you're like, oh, he kind of knows what he's doing. Then he'll say something like, oh, no, you're dumb. That was dumb.
The dude was like one of the highest ranked. He was like a bad martial artist. Like
yeah. It was
like
MMA?
a proven, like I think it was like judo or something. Like judo. I think he was like something. I think he has like 10 black belts too.
Okay.
But like before he was on news radio and like was an actor and like did all that stuff, he was kicking motherfuckers in the face.
Yeah, nice.
Like
now he's doing it with podcasts.
Kicking
motherfuckers in the face with podcasts.
You know, and he still does like videos of like technique videos and showing you how to like, you know, power kick all. Like he is a legitimate martial artist. It's interesting that he's never done or used those skills to
make a good podcast.
Well, I was gonna say make a good like.
That's not true.
You know, movie. I think he's actually. I think his podcast is dope. I think he has a dope podcast.
Yeah, he does, but it's never because of him. It's always because of who he has on.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
so it's his producers basically setting up interviews and things like that, and he's like, so, you know.
Well, I don't think.
So,
I don't
understand why Louis C.K. should, you know, get fired from his job because, like, you know.
No. I think what they were, and I didn't go back and and this is based on.
Did you listen to that episode?
I didn't go back and listen to that episode. I had too much to do. But I think I remember, a lot of that and a lot of
wiki
and wiki is
for masturbating.
No, that's it's DJ.
Yeah,
DJing
with your dick.
DJing with my penis. So dumb.
So you did go back and listen to it. You did not.
I did go back and listen to it, but if I remember correctly, what they were arguing is the fact that or something to the effect of like he had paid his due in the court of public opinion, and he should be allowed to work again.
Kind of, but then they would go on, and then they would be like, I mean, really, all he did was like masturbate in front of women. Like, what kind of harm does that do? And later he got them all jobs, so it's like what's the big deal? And I went, nope, I'm done with that. Because I was like, I'm going to go on and write a comment. And then there were like 2,000 comments.
Yeah, dude.
And a lot of them were like, yeah, that's right. And, you know, I'm sure a few were like buried in the sludge of. But I was like, you know what? No.
It definitely, what I will say about it definitely, Rogan's podcast reminds me a lot of what Adam Carolla and Jimmy Kimmel used to do with The Man Show.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like
That was 20 years ago.
And Adam Carolla, I don't know where the fuck he is, but Jimmy Kimmel has. I mean, I think a lot of people.
Kimmel? What's he been doing these days?
Hosting like a late night television show for the better part of fucking.
Yeah, but I mean, like, besides that,
it just kind of blew my mind that everybody kind of forgot that Adam Carolla, not Adam Carolla, but Jimmy Kimmel.
They did forget Adam Carolla. Who's he?
Yeah, exactly. Aww. But that Jimmy Kimmel had built this. No, fuck
I'm sure he's listening.
Fuck that guy.
I can't say anything mean about anybody.
I can't either. But I mean, kill yourself, Adam Carolla. No, but not in a bad way. But basically, like this guy, they made themselves, made money and made their careers on this sort of chauvinistic macho BS. And then we're supposed to just forget about it because he has a family now and he does late night television.
Yep.
I'm like, you mean that whole girls on trampoline thing?
Yeah.
Y'all did that.
Where
for
are they?
Seasons.
Where are those girls? Are they working?
I mean, I don't know.
They get amazing, like...
They probably didn't have any, like, what do they call them? Good severance packages or anything.
So, speaking of good severance packages, or
word?
The live-action Akira movie. There's a synopsis out, and there's some changes from the source material. And you know that whenever there are changes to the source material, you have to cough really loud because... Fans love changes to the source material, don't they?
Christ.
That's like their favorite thing.
Jesus.
Like, hey, take this really good thing and change it.
What did they change?
Because it'll probably be way better than this already really good thing.
What was the change?
I will surmise.
Oh, God.
Okay?
You have to surmise it? Oh, God.
Here is the plot synopsis of what... This is also the guy who directed Thor Ragnarok, Taititi Wakiki or whatever. Oh, God. Why? I'm sorry. I can't pronounce it. I just need to look at it. Taititi. Do you know how to pronounce his last name?
Wait, what?
Taika Waititi. There you go. I'm
okay.
Legit not making fun of his name. I just can never remember it. I have to look at it and pronounce it. Taika Waititi is directing, right? So he's adapting it. Leonardo DiCaprio is producing it. This is a Warner Brothers movie. And here's the synopsis. When a young man's telekinesis is discovered by the military, he's taken in to be turned into a superweapon, and his brother... Wait, what brother? Must race to save him before Manhattan? What? It's destroyed by his powers? Kaneda is a bar owner, huh? In Neo Manhattan? What? Who is stunned when his brother Tetsu is abducted by the government agents and led by the colonel? Desperate to get his brother back, Kaneda agrees to join Kai Reed, huh? And her underground movement, who are intent on revealing to the world what truly happened to New York City 30 years ago when it was destroyed. Kaneda believes their theories to be ludicrous, but after facing his brother again, is shocked when he displays telekinetic powers. Kai believes Tetsu is Tetsu is headed to release a young boy, Akira, who has taken control of Tetsu's mind. Kaneda clashes with the colonel's troops on his way to stop Tetsu from releasing Akira, but arrives too late. Akira soon emerges from his prison, courtesy of Tetsuo, as Kaneda races to save his brother before Akira once again destroys Manhattan Island, as he did 30 years ago. Huh? Let's just go back. One, it's no longer Tokyo.
That's a lot to unpack.
It's Manhattan.
It sounds bad.
Kaneda and Tetsuo
are brothers
now. Before they were just friends that pretty much met in an orphanage.
Right.
Depending on what version.
Right. No, they're right.
Because in the manga, they have parents.
Right.
Tetsu's got parents, Kaneda's got parents.
But in the anime, they make them
orphans.
Right.
Exactly.
He's been taking care of them since.
Which is actually the smarter move, because...
And it makes more sense.
Yeah, because when you get about 10 episodes into the manga, the comic book, you realize that they never brought their parents up. Mm-hmm. They never once think about their parents, which is fine. I get it. They don't have good parents, and so they're kind of funneled into this
they're basically street kids.
They're street kids.
Mom and dad probably work or whatever. This is if we're talking about a Neo Tokyo where the subservient or the people who are the poor, basically right now, their parents just don't know where they are.
Basically my kids.
When we were growing up, our parents didn't know where the hell we were 8 to 10 hours of the day. If we weren't in school, if it wasn't school, summer break or whatever, Mom didn't know the fuck we were.
We were out riding motorcycles through the streets.
We could have been literally having monkey knife fights.
Yeah.
And my mom wouldn't have known shit.
I was throwing Molotov cocktails at other rival biker gangs.
I was literally trying to do every page of the Anarchist Cookbook at a time.
Yeah, exactly. So, let's read some comments here real quick. First comment that goes, Fuck all this. Second comment, they're going to fuck this up so badly, just like Ghost in the Shell. Third comment, worse. Now they are brothers? Kaneda owns a bar? What about his bike? Is there any bike at all?
Yeah.
And as a note to the author of this article, there is a character named Kai in the movie. Not the leader of the rebellion, but still, she's there. You just had to check IMDb. This sounds pretty worse than any modern adaptation of a classic I've seen so far. So, now... the directors who named Taika Waititi has gone on and said, Asian teenagers would be the way to do it for me, and probably not like No Name, I mean sort of untapped talent. Yeah, I'd probably want to take it a bit back more towards the books. When talking about the direction of the film, he says, what I wanted to do was an adaptation of the books, because a lot of people are like, don't touch that film. And I'm like, I'm not remaking the film. I want to go back to the books. Good. A lot of the people are freaking out. They haven't even read the books, and there are 6 gigantic books to go through. It's so rich. But the anime, Akira, is one of my favorite films. My mom took me to see it when I was 13, and it changed my life. Which, I mean, that sounds promising. That's kind of my relationship to it as well. I saw it maybe a little younger than 13, but definitely at the comics when I was very, very young. And that sounds nothing like the anime. Or the comic book, excuse me. And very little like the anime as well. And I think it's going to be a travesty.
Well, and you said this is a confirmed that they are going to make that film. That's what's happening.
I mean, it seems pretty much like this is official now. That they've attached this director to it. They haven't announced the official green light, but the fact that this synopsis came out and there's a kind of... But this is also, in general, the synopsis of... Remember, I told you I found the script online. Yeah. They've gone through some different writers and some rewrites, but this is pretty much...
Exactly what
I didn't read the whole thing because it was garbage. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't understand. Like, if you're going to make a...
But like I was saying last week on the podcast, I think this is one of the few... properties that can get away with whitewashing it. Like you can set it in New York, and like New York can be the setting instead of Tokyo. Like none of the politics are essential. Like it can easily be New York as a setting. The military can easily be involved in that same way that was a thing. The
country of Japan is in the anime or in the comic book, the manga is under a coup happens in like the 11th and 12th issue, basically. So it's like it is a lot about politics.
Okay, but I mean, if that's the case, I mean that could happen. That could easily. I mean, we're literally talking about that could happen right now. Yeah. Like the political climate for America is one essentially like a coup could happen in this motherfucker. I'm saying like. There are details about this that all kind of line up for me to make it so that it's not like I don't necessarily like need them to like they could whitewash this in a way that like none of the characters need to necessarily be Japanese, although I prefer it. I don't like playing with the sort of like canon relationship. They don't need to be brothers. I think it doesn't serve if they are. No. I think that just makes it corny and hallmarky in that way.
I mean, I get that choice because they're quote unquote like brothers in the manga, like Kaneda, but they're also rivals. But they have like a brother rivalry, and Kaneda goes out of his way to find Tetsuo.
I think it's more poignant if they're not related. If it's found family, like if it's family that you're not if they're brothers. Oh, of course you're gonna want to go and save your brother. Yeah. He's your fucking brother.
He's your brother.
But if it's
you have
to. Like you'd be considered a dick if you didn't. But if it's somebody who like you've acquired as like if it were you like me. If it was this relationship, exactly. Like if that would make it more like
I consider you like. You're my brother. Yeah, like same. I would anything that happens to you is going to unsettle me as a human being, and I would not. Right. There's no situation where you are away in pain and I can like live my life understanding that.
And I think that's the smarter choice, and that's why I think it worked so well in the like if they're actually like if it was just like you and Bo, I'd be like, oh yeah, well duh, you better go save that motherfucker. That's your brother.
Yeah. This just makes me so angry because I get the sense of like, let's not whitewash it. Then why are you setting it in Manhattan? Like, what difference does it make? Because with Scarlett Johansson, they were under the idea, like, we have to get this movie financed. We have to make money. I'm not defending it, but I understand that decision.
To do that.
Because she will bring in X amount of dollars.
Right.
And we're worried this movie is going to underperform. Mm-hmm. I do not believe that AKIRA has such a large fan base that everybody's going to flock out to see this movie if you put no-name actors into it. Regardless of whether they're American or white or Japanese, right? So then why set it all in Manhattan? If you're going to use Japanese actors and kind of forego, okay, we're not worried about that aspect of the finances, then why not just set it in Neo-Tokyo?
Well, I think maybe because filming in Tokyo is mad expensive, and like filming here would be like cheaper. Like to do the film that we would want, like in Neo, like they have to blow up parts of downtown Shinjuku and like doing. I think to do it legitimately, the price would be astronomical, and I think it's just easier. I think it's cheaper to to make the setting New York, because New York is setting for so many of the disasters. Like they blow up New York like New York is like literally the ground zero for a lot of like.
But if you can create Metropolis
post-apocalyptic shit
in Man of Steel and blow it up, you know what I mean?
But that could be anywhere. Like Metropolis.
Agreed. But when I'm watching Akira the anime, I'm not sitting there thinking, oh wow, look at, because I've been to Tokyo. I'm not sitting there, oh look, there's that part of Tokyo. Mm-hmm. There's this other. It is unrecognizable as Tokyo. You know what I mean? So because what I envision seeing on the screen at some point is, oh look, there's Times Square in Neo Manhattan. Oh look, there's the East Village in Neo Manhattan, or whatever is going to happen. And that I'm just like, why? I don't understand the decision. I don't think it's going to bring in more audience, and it's going to make your fan base go, you know what, I'll wait and see if it gets good reviews.
Right.
And it's probably not.
Right.
In which case, then they're not going to go see it.
Well, when you start changing so many aspects of what made the original good, it's going to call into question a lot of things. Like people are going to be like, well, because when it's so different, like exactly what you're arguing. When you make changes that you didn't necessarily have to, and you can't justify them, then you're gonna get critique for it. I was reading, actually, this kind of brings me to some of this Hellboy news, because I read an early critique for it, and that's a lot of what they're saying, and I'm not gonna get too deep into it because it drops this tomorrow.
Yeah, well, it got bad reviews. Is what happened.
It got really bad reviews.
Yes.
I'm still excited to see it because
it got 2 out of 5 stars on most nerd sites. Like not talking like Entertainment Weekly, like on your nerd sites, your Screen Rant, your Comic Book Reader, like 2 out of 5 stars.
Wow, which
is bad.
That is not good.
All the other X-Men movies, like the First Class, the Apocalypse, those things got around 3 to 3.5 stars.
Really,
this is 2 stars.
Are we seeing this next week?
I don't know.
Reviewing this?
I don't know, or maybe we should just.
I hate to not based on like early reviews of something that hasn't even come out yet.
Yeah,
but
or we could just watch the other Hellboy movies, which are good.
But I love them both. I was interested to see what this David Harbour take would be.
He's not a draw for me though.
I don't think he's a draw for me either. Like. I think part of the reason why that first couple were so good was Ron fucking Perlman.
Yeah.
And
he's great in it. But also Guillermo del Toro.
True.
He's great in it as well.
Well, Ron Perlman is
Or not in it, but
he is mad experience with like prosthetics and wearing like all the way back to like Beauty and the. You remember Beauty and the Beast from like the 80s?
Yes.
He was on that show.
That was him.
That was him.
I remember that TV show would come on sometimes, and I would watch it and be like, "Wow, that looks pretty good."
But with the lion face,
yeah, exactly.
That was Ron Perlman, bro.
And then I get confused because Meatloaf had a song. Remember Meatloaf's song? And it was also video. But I thought, was that in the world of Ron Perlman's Beauty and the Beast?
All I know that Perlman has been doing that kind of acting, like that kind of emoting through layers of prosthetic for almost 30 years before Hellboy was made. So it made sense that he would be the guy to do it, and he did it amazingly.
I'm sure David Harbour would be fine in it.
Right.
Apparently there was a lot of like tension on set between the producers and the director.
Really?
Yeah. And even David Harbour, like, walking off set a few times and being like, I'm done with those takes. I'm not sure if that was because of the producers. Like, he's walking away from the producers.
He's serious, though? He was like...
It's like one of those situations where the director's like, okay, do it this way. And then the producer's like, no, do it this way.
And, like, he had done
David
it like,
Harbour
a bunch
being
of times.
like,
He'd be just like, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think they knew for a while that it was not going to be very good.
Oh, wow.
It's like one of those things when you realize, oh, no.
I mean, because the promotional push for it has been kind of hard.
It's been hard, yeah. And also not smart. So I think...
You think so?
Yeah, because just like you said, the criticism of the preview that first came out, the red line preview, where like you were just like a red title, whatever it's called, and you were like, wow, they pretty much show you everything in the movie that's going to happen, and they do. Yeah. And to me, that's like, if that's how you're making your previews versus if you look at like in-game, where they're showing you nothing, you're getting tiny little bits, and even that I don't really want to watch, but tiny little bits of things that doesn't really give away much of the plot or story.
Which leads me to a little bit of some other news I had this week. Do you hear about how they don't give Tom Holland like full script?
Yes, I guess he's so bad at it
because he can't. No, he's so bad at keeping secrets. He can't close his mouth to save his life.
Yes.
So they don't give him like whole scenes. They only give him the scenes that he's in.
I think a lot of movies do that though.
Oh,
yeah. I think that was the way with a lot of in-game. I know they did that with Game of Thrones.
Oh, word.
Because there was a lot of like, and that's what the whole SNL skit last week with Kit Harington on was like. Even some of the Game of Thrones characters, he plays Jon Snow.
Yeah, I know.
It's a show that's.
I didn't know that they had.
Game of Thrones is a show on HBO.
Yeah,
Rob.
I also know that.
It's pretty good
because I've been predicting it since.
So you're all
like,
caught up.
Episode 3.
You're ready.
No.
For next week.
No, I already told you. I'm probably just going to wait till it's all said and done and then watch them all.
Or not.
Well, I mean, it's also brought up another thing that I was.
But yeah, anyways, that's pretty normal. But yes, I think the joke is like they don't give it to Tom Holland anymore because he let something slip. It was for Civil War or something like that.
Loose lips sink ships, Tom.
Yes, stuck lips do not make a good podcast.
You said duck lips?
Duck lips.
I disagree.
That's all we do here is give duck lips to each other.
Do make a podcast, motherfucker.
All right, Rob. So I got some J.J. Abrams Star Wars news.
Okay, I did too.
All right.
But what's yours?
3, 2, 1, go. No. So J.J. Abrams talks about the immense responsibility of Star Wars Episode 9, right? And so here's a quote. And then we can talk about it. Is this what you got or you got something different?
No, mine was different.
Okay, hold on. So this is J.J. Abrams, and he says, it was a completely unknown scenario. I had some gut instincts about where the story would have gone, but without getting in the weeds on Episode 8. That was a story that Rian Johnson wrote and was telling based on Episode 7, which he wrote before we met. He wrote that Episode 7 with Lawrence Kasdan. So he was talking... Oh, yeah, that's my neighbors. They're having some conversations. Always.
I was like, is somebody playing Rhythm of the Night by Chica and the Barge? Wait, that's not the one I was thinking of. That's not the one I was thinking of at all.
Which one were you thinking of?
But the one, okay, I guess I said the wrong one. Yes, not Rhythm of the Night, but the one with Chico and the Barge.
I'm lost, man.
Word?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So he was taking this thing, this is J.J. Abrams, in another direction. That was Rian Johnson. So we also had to respond to Episode 8. So basically, he's saying, we made a movie, then Rian Johnson went off his own, he made a movie. These two things were not necessarily connected.
Well,
so our movie was not just following what we had started, it was following what we had started and then had been advanced by someone else. So there was that. And finally, it was resolving 9 movies. Blah, blah, blah. He says the lack of complete structure for this thing, given the way it was being run, was an enormous challenge. And I'm like, no shit.
Well, according to IGN, Mark Hamill had pitched a different ending for Star Wars.
Oh, I didn't hear this at all.
You didn't hear this?
No.
And this was my stuff. Yeah, apparently. So Mark had he had pitched this different ending to The Force Awakens to J.J. Abrams, which was going to be like a touching callback to A New Hope, where he reunites Leia, Han, and Luke. But
just let Mark Hamill write it, please.
Well, apparently,
just let him do it.
Apparently, Hamill had pitched this to JJ, and JJ kind of was like, "Nah, I'm gonna do something else."
He's like, "No, that would be too good."
Right. So, in describing it, this is what he says. He says, "So Hamill revealed a pitch he gave to Abrams that would have led to the reunion of Luke, Leia, and Han. You can, and then they start quoting him. He says, "You can still have me come in at the very end." Hamill explains, "But how about this? Leia's trying to contact me telepathically.
Yes.
She gets frustrated because there's no answer, so she rushes to the new Death Star.
Yes.
That's 3 so far.
Yeah.
And she almost gets there when she's stopped by 2 stormtroopers. Just before she's abducted, one stormtrooper turns to the other and blows him away, pulls off his helmet and says, "Hi, sis, I'm here to rescue you."
Yes. Why not?
Yo.
Why not?
The king of voiceovers? King of voiceovers? You better listen to
Here's
Mark.
the other irony. Let's take the king of voiceovers, like this guy who for 20 years now is doing the most amazing voiceovers. Let's put him at the end of episode 7, and he says nothing.
I mean, right?
Like what?
I mean, honestly,
I don't hate either one of those movies. I know some people hate The Last Jedi. I don't hate it. I do see its faults. I do see some of the mistakes. I can definitely tell that somebody had a story in episode 7, and then somebody wrote another story for episode 8.
Well, what's dope, and this is going off what Hamill was saying. Hamill thought that would have blown the roof off the joint. That's a quote.
Yeah.
What's more, it would have led to the death of Han Solo in that first one. With Luke and Leia being there.
And
with
feeling it together.
Right. So,
and not just walking straight past Chewbacca.
Right.
Which J.J. Abrams admitted was a fault. Leia walks right past Chewbacca at the end of Force Awakens. Doesn't hug him. Doesn't say, "Hey, man."
Didn't even say what's up.
Didn't even have like a connection where like, "Man, we both lost Han just a second ago. I felt it. You were there." Anyways, let's move on. And goes straight to Rey, who she's never met, and gives her a hug. Like, "Hey, welcome to the franchise. It's on you now."
Right, because then she literally dies in the next film.
Yeah. On a positive note, JJ does say, "I feel like we might have done it. Like, I actually feel like this crazy challenge that could have been a wildly uncomfortable contortion of ideas and a kind of shoving in of answers and band-aids and bridges and things that would have felt messy. Strangely, we were sort of relentless and almost unbearably disciplined about the story and forcing ourselves to question and answer some fundamental things that, at the beginning, I absolutely had no clue how that we would begin to address. I feel like we've gotten to a place without jinxing anything or sounding more confident than I deserve to be. I feel like we're in a place where we might have something incredibly special."
Really?
Yeah.
Abrams said that?
Yep.
Okay.
So positive.
I mean, he's got to be, right? That's the dude who this is hanging on. If it all falls to nothing, they're going to hang it on JJ's neck.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They got to.
Well, I think a lot of people forget that Force Awakens came out, and everybody immediately was like, "It's great. It's a really good Star Wars movie. It's so much better than the prequels. It really just leads."
Well, it was so much better. Than the prequels.
Yeah. And it leads us right into doing another good movie. That's exciting. But then about like a couple weeks after the movie came out, people were like, "Yeah, but it's so like familiar. It's like basically the same beat by beat of A New Hope." And there was this kind of like backlash about that. Then that's when they said, "Okay, well, let's bring in Rian Johnson to direct the next one." I genuinely believe that J.J. Abrams was supposed to direct the second one and help write that, but then because of that sort of backlash of how similar it was
they
New
opted
Hope,
to do
right? They brought Rian in, and so all they said to Rian was, "Do whatever you want, just don't make it like
the first one
or Empire Strikes Back too much." And so then he goes off in his own direction. I don't blame him. I think he's a good director. I don't
blame him either. If they're going to give you carte blanche to do whatever you want in a Star Wars story, then like you can't fault the end product of the fandom reacting the way they did.
Yeah, but I also don't think that he didn't know the answers to what JJ had asked in the first movie, and instead of trying to answer those questions, for the most part, he just avoided them, and kind of went on his own path. So now J.J. Abrams is back for this episode 9, and he's gonna have to do some like some Jedi mind tricking to get motherfuckers back on board. Exactly.
This is not the movie you were looking for. Oh, I guess that wasn't the movie we were looking for, motherfucker.
This is the movie we're looking for.
You got anything else?
I do. So Francis Ford Coppola
what's he talking about?
Is finally getting around to making his magnum opus called Megalopus.
Mega what now?
Magnum opus Megalopus.
Really?
Yes.
How old is Francis these days?
Old enough to have like his own wine company that's not very good.
Yeah, well, and I think not only wine. I think he sells
he does
like
so much. Yeah,
like tomato paste, well, it was a
project
sauce and shit.
Yeah, he does No, I think you're thinking of Paul Newman. It's popcorn,
old white
olive
guys.
oil,
I mean,
salad dressing,
old movie making white guys. All y'all motherfuckers look alike.
But anyways, this was like a project that he had struggled for years to get off the ground, and they had just started to get traction, and they were going to film it in a futuristic New York City, but then 9/11 happened, and so it sort of got shelved.
Okay.
But he's wanted to make it for decades, and he has a cast. He says, "It is unusual. It will be a production on a grand scale with a large cast. It makes use of all of my years of trying films in different styles and types, culminating in what I think is my own voice and aspiration. It is not within the mainstream of what is produced now, but I am intending and wishing and in fact encouraged to begin production this year." Magnum opus, Megapolis.
Magnus opus. Okay.
No, I'm saying Magnus opus. The movie is Megalopus. Megalopus.
All right.
I mean, pronounce it.
I've got I think it's probably it was kind of well, I left my notebook at the house today, so yeah, I know, it sucks. So I'm trying to give you the best news that I can remember off the top of my stupid brain.
Well, at least you didn't leave the mic. That's all I gotta say.
Well, I mean,
I was like, "You taking it home?" You're like, "Yeah, why not?" I was like, "Why would you take it home?"
I've taken it home every time since you bought it.
You like to sleep next to it. I understand.
It's not even about sleeping next to it. It's about recording my farts. I record my farts, and then I play them through a mixer. Like I'm trying to get Wade to help me, the
OP1 mix.
With the OP1 mix, man. I'm trying to like layer farts in. I call it a concerto.
I call it a fugue.
I'm writing my own by the way, mask. Like
your last fart last episode totally came through the mic.
Did it?
And if you keep listening to where you left off when you came in, you'll hear me repeat it a few times. You look like
you're a liar.
You're looking at me like, really? Did you do that?
I was like, I don't know. I mean, that's what you probably did.
I don't know about this. I feel a little embarrassed.
Honestly, that would make my day.
That make your day.
But this is the last bit of news that I have, and
right.
we can finish up whatever you got here. But did you hear that the Dark Souls and Sekiro creators would like to make a Rockstar style narrative game?
Oh no, I did not hear that.
Yeah. So apparently they would like to make something like a Red Dead Redemption 2, like the guys who made Dark Souls and Sekiro.
I think that could be great.
I think it would be amazing.
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome.
Based on like a lot of the gameplay I've watched for Sekiro and a lot of what the reviews have said about it, it is, and for that style of game, which I've spoken about a lot at length on the show, I hate.
Yeah.
But that game looks awesome.
Yeah.
Everything about it looks awesome.
I almost went out and got it this week.
It seems like it'd be right up your fucking alley,
It is.
too.
I was just too busy. It was like one of those things where I just wanted to curl up on the couch. My butt hurt from my leg thing.
From your leg thing.
My leg,
quote,
my sciatica or whatever.
Giant quote, unquote.
My wrist is a bag of marbles. I just found out I'm paying $800 a month now. It's $200 a week, man, for insurance. And I just wanted to curl up on the couch and play a video game.
That sucks.
For the rest of my life.
That sucks.
But I didn't, because I'm too busy. Too busy doing this podcast, editing, writing scripts, hanging out with Rami Malek.
You are a motherfucker, bro.
Yeah.
You are a motherfucker.
That could be good. I think my favorite part about the Red Dead, even though I have not been back and played it in a long time, was the first couple hours of it, when it was very linear and narrative heavy. And then as soon as it opened up in the open world, then I can start to see, like, oh, look, here's the mission, here's the writing, here's what they want you to do, let's follow these thread points. And then it gets very boring for me. I don't know why that aspect of it gets boring versus the controlled narrative doesn't. But I think I like all of the little details that go into that control that make it, the weather's controlled. You're in a snowstorm in the beginning of Red Dead Redemption. There's all these, everything's just tight. It feels like there's specificity there, where as soon as you enter the open world, you're creating it, because if you decide to go out on a mission during a rainstorm, that happens. And I understand why people find that interesting. But for me, like, I want that creative control.
So like, basically, like, when you're talking about like games like Red Dead Redemption, you're talking about games that favor story, not over gameplay necessarily, because a lot of the gameplay wasn't necessarily like the strongest aspect of it, like the writing and the shooting.
Yeah.
Like for you, that's not where that game sort of soared. It was in the storytelling. But with games like Sekiro and like Dark Souls,
but they even have less story.
That's what I'm saying. They favor the gameplay over the story, and you got down super hard on those games.
Exactly.
So like, is it? I mean, I guess the question falls to you is: do you prefer games that go that favor the gameplay over the story, or do you, like me, favor games that go story over the gameplay?
It's a strange alchemy that pulls me into a game, and I don't really know what it is. Like, I started playing Tetris on Switch, on my kid's Switch, and it was like...
I meant to ask you about that.
Yeah, it was like...
You were telling me you were going to... Like, didn't they have, like, some new deal, or where they opened up the library or something to you?
Oh, here's another piece of news. Well, I'll do it in a second. Don't let me forget. Another piece of news, PlayStation Network. But, no, yeah, so
I know the one you're going to say.
Yeah. Hold on, just wait.
I know the one you're going to say.
So, anyway, there was this thing that was out for a while that if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can get a month of Switch Online for free, and then you can parlay that into, like, another full year or something like that. I'm not sure how it works, but I have the month for free right now, and I was playing Tetris Online, and so there's something about that mechanic that makes you feel empowered as a player, you know? You feel like you're good at it. And the Dark Souls games do that as well.
Really?
Once you start to figure out the mechanics and you begin to accomplish things, even though you're dying quite a bit and having to go, you can feel yourself becoming a better player. Where I don't know if that's necessarily what's happening in Red Dead Redemption. There is that element to it, but you don't really ever. If you just die, you just feel like you'll just come. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the equation is that sucks me into a game necessarily. But that first couple hours of Red Dead sucked me in, and then when it opened up to the open world, and I could kind of go anywhere, then I could feel my interest kind of
wane.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So I don't know.
Because it was almost kind of opposite to me, like in a reciprocal of that, like
which I respect.
Like those first, it's just an interesting take, like how we both kind of game differently. Because I had the opposite reaction where I was like, when it was early on and it was sort of linear, those were the least interesting missions to me, because I kind of already knew what I had to do. I was like, all right, this is the moment where I got to shoot 4 guys or whatever, loot this thing, whatever. And then once it opened up into like the open world where I was given the option to sort of create my own narrative, that was when the game sort of like became the most appealing to me. I was like, oh yes. Yeah. Now I get to shoot foul and skin, like even though like in the grand scheme of what the game is, that's, it doesn't really affect anything. Just that they had given me the option to do it. It allowed me to create my own. So like if you like how you had to skin certain animals to get like craft certain outfits and stuff like. So that sort of like started to appeal to me. I was like, well, I want to hunt down this legendary crocodile to get like that ridiculous outfit where I
enjoyed those missions.
But they're not even so much missions. That's just part of like the world building that you could do. That you had to be invested enough to be like, okay, well, let me see I need a perfect snake pelt and I need a perfect like eagle feather,
I need a boar tusk, and
you know what I'm saying. It required
alligator claw.
It required you to sort of like be invested enough to track these things that you didn't necessarily have to track in order for you to sort of progress in the story or anything. But
there's no like easy equation to like the type of game that I'll get into, because I played a little bit of the PlayStation Network game that was downloaded I think a couple months ago or for free download, Soma. Which is all narrative based. It's all story told, and I liked it and found myself being pulled into it, but also sort of was growing bored immediately as well. So I don't know. But then you'll take a game like Final Fantasy Tactics, where you're building up basically a squad of soldiers, and I'll get sucked into that for 200 hours.
Well, you were the one who put me on the XCOM, and is one of those turn based joints, and I found myself really kind of invested in enjoying it in a way that I hadn't in any kind of turn-based game.
Yeah, or like Overwatch, for example, an online game, almost no story. I mean, the stories, you can find hints of the story and make it up sort of as you go, or watch online stuff, but like that's just competitive multiplayer online, no story at all. And I got way too sucked into that and had to like basically be like, I'm done. I got to bow out of this.
Wow. It was like crack for you.
It was like crack. Because that was the competitive aspect. That was that Tetris thing of like, oh, this makes me feel like I'm learning and getting better as a player, Same with Dark Souls.
So are you saying, like crack, would you have sucked some penis to get another go round in the competitive world? You'd
Potentially.
Be like, wow.
Yeah, I told you.
All right.
Fluidly cis, man.
Well, I mean, or, crack is a hell of a drug.
Crack is a hell of a drug. What else we got? Oh, yeah. So the last bit of news, I don't even have to pull it up here, was that finally, Finally,
it took them this long.
I know. PlayStation Network has announced that you can change your username.
Finally.
So if you were like a 13-year-old and you put on like Smoke
Dog F1 260.
Yeah.
Or
whatever it was.
Whatever.
Juice 541, which was mine. What was yours? Yours was Shogun.
Mine was Shonuff Shogun,
yeah.
which was never my intention.
Yeah, exactly. But then every time you played a multiplayer game from that point on, or any game, you were stuck with that name.
You were stuck with that name.
So,
yeah, yours is Juice.
Yeah. Juice. Exactly.
You got the juice now,
because when you're signing up for it, you just think, okay, I'm just going to put a name and I'll figure something out better later.
No,
you're not thinking this name's going to be with me on my PlayStation.
I am. I always
from PlayStation to PlayStation because we got those names back in PlayStation 3 era.
Right. I for me, I always tried to pick a username that, like, if this was the one time that I could make it, it had to be a cool one.
Yeah.
And it just, like, it took so many iterations just for me to get that Shonuff show. Like, it was supposed to be Shonuff Shogun.
Yeah.
But somebody had that already.
Yeah.
So I had to keep throwing it back into the algorithm to get the one I want. And that was the closest I could get.
Yeah.
I was like, fine. That's what it is now.
Yeah. So now you get your first name change for free. Any name change after that is $10.
Really?
Yeah.
So they monetized it.
Yeah.
Those mother.
But that's what everybody was saying years ago. It was like, just if you want to charge us. I just want to change my name from Cocklover 6912
to Butt Lover
6944. As my interest has changed.
As they do.
As they do
as you get older and presumably wiser.
Thank you, PlayStation. I guess I'll change like What We Into or something like that.
You should probably. I mean, we should probably both do like tandem. I'll be What We and you can be Into.
I'm here with Into. This is What We. What we into? It's butts. We into butts. We into Thanos' anus.
Jesus. What'd I tell you about that? I said, no more Thanos' anus. Motherfucker.
Don't peek the mic, man.
Don't
clip the mic.
Thanos' anuses.
I told you to scoot that mic
and
back
I told you no Thanos' anuses.
I'm going to lower your volume here on purpose.
You better lower my volume, because I am every time.
Every time. I guess that's it. I have other stuff, but forget it. I was going to talk about the Eternals. They're they're casting what's his face. The only
did we talk about the casting of Cowboy Bebop? Did we bring that up at all?
We brought it up last episode because we got the text from my wife, and I think you got it at the same time.
No, I think, but it was at the very end.
Yeah, at the very end. Yeah. We'll talk about it a little more as it comes up, but Kumail Nanjiani, he's going to be in the Eternals apparently, along with Angelina Jolie.
Huh.
That's like their new Avengers in space thing that's happening.
Okay. All right.
We'll talk about it more coming up. Let's jump
into what we're into.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Shazam, but no, let's jump into what we're into.
What were you into this week? What we into this week?
Well, not too much, actually.
Okay.
I'm getting all these texts right now from my boss at work, but I'm going to ignore those. First thing I watched was White Privilege Island. Excuse me, Cocaine Island.
Oh, I was like, I didn't hear or see this.
It was on Netflix right now.
Yeah, but Cocaine Island, yes, I do recall.
Did you watch it?
I did not.
A northern fairy tale starts off once upon a time. A southern fairy tale starts off. Y'all ain't gonna believe this shit. Cocaine. Over 70 pounds. Just waiting for someone to dig it up.
I am a dreamer, but I'm not a greedy person. I wanted to take care of my family.
Okay, so it's basically about this guy, and he's in Florida, and he's there with his family.
Does he find coke on this island is what it is?
Well, he hears a rumor. It's like me and you hanging out, right?
And
then a buddy shows up. And he's like, back in the day, I was in this island in Puerto Rico, and I found this bag of cocaine, and I buried it next to my trailer. And so he starts thinking, like, how can I get this cocaine back? And starts going, basically making small connection after small connection until he's got, like, a pilot, and he's got, like, somebody who can move the cocaine once he brings it back.
Scooby-Doo episode.
This is like my dad basically deciding to do this. Except this guy's, not. He's more lower class. I mean, but they're Florida. I mean, he's a Florida man, a Florida white man, right?
Florida man, dude. You don't got to say a Florida white man because everybody knows that Florida man is a white guy.
It's exactly so Florida man, and so they go out to Puerto Rico to find this cocaine,
and they find it.
They don't find it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and this is I'm just gonna spoil a little thing. If
I'm not.
It's not bad to watch. Like the guy is endearing.
Is it worth the documentary that they had to make to get this story out?
Yeah, because it's an interesting story. But hold on. So, like, basically, he goes out there to find it, and he's like, I don't know, 300 pounds. He's a fairly, like, overweight dude.
Is there? So,
yeah,
like, a
like
300-pound guy an overweight guy went to find treasure.
Yes, and he takes along a guy that he meets who's, like, basically, like, a 25-year-old kid who's also kind of a junkie, right?
Okay.
And so they get to Puerto Rico, and the junkie starts having, like
fits.
Yeah, fits and withdrawals, right? So then they go to, like, find the place where it's supposed to be, and neither one of them can really dig. The junkie can't dig because he's, like, having these fits, and he's not very strong. It's like, why did you bring this kid anyways, right? And the guy who's, like, 300 pounds, he tries, but the soil's too hard, so they give up and they go back. The guy who they even ended up meeting to, like, who was going to fly it out of there for them, he goes back, and he finds it. And he says, okay, I found it.
He's the fittest one of this team of three.
Kind of. So hold on. Sort of.
Oh my god.
So he says, okay, come meet me at this spot and I'll give you your money. Or give you your share of it. And then you can give it to the drug dealer who will move it, blah, blah, blah.
The pilot does.
The pilot does, yeah.
So wait, the pilot, okay, wait. I'm just tracking this. Tracking this. So, Junkie and Fat Guy.
Florida Man.
Florida Man. Junkie and Florida Man can't find it, but include Pilot in on the initial part of this. Pilot then goes back by himself, finds it, and then tells Junkie and Florida Man?
Yeah, that he found, exactly. And the Florida Man's like, I just thought he was really honest. But when he goes to get his share from the Pilot Man's car, of course, FBI come in and bust him.
So it was a sting.
Yeah, it was a sting. So initially, the guy that they met to meet and move the drugs, who introduced him to the pilot, he had been pulled over with a whole bunch of Oxycontin, and so he was working for the FBI. Yeah. So, how many years in jail do you think this guy got for the Florida Man, the white guy?
White guy.
Yep, you're onto it.
White guy. Probably no years in jail. Probably probation.
Bingo. 20 hours a week of social service with Habitat for Humanity.
Damo strikes again.
Exactly.
I didn't even have to. I was like,
and it's an enjoyable documentary. It's interesting. Everybody in it is very likable. It has some twists. I ruined it for you. But then at the end, instead of getting jail time for basically helping to orchestrate this whole thing, the judge is very lenient on him and saying, "Look, because the FBI, they go out there and they dig it up and they bring it back to the United States, and then they put it in a car and say, go collect your stuff." So it is very much
entrapment.
It's entrapment, yeah. But at the same time,
could you imagine if
they
it
find
was an actual Puerto Rican who did that shit?
Because the court finds him guilty. The jurors, they find him guilty, but then the judge basically says, "I'm not going to ruin your life for this.
No, it's fine.
I'll give you 20 hours."
This ain't Florida, man. Go back to eating McDonald's 7 days a week and being 300 pounds and not giving a fuck.
Exactly. So interesting, but
fuck that. So all right. I was into Kim's Convenience. Third season of Kim's Convenience came out.
I'm Mr. Kim and this is my store. I'm working very hard every day.
Kim's Convenience. Is it a convenience store?
It's about a Korean family that owns a convenience store.
Comedy, drama?
It's a comedy.
Okay.
Comedy drama.
Comedy drama?
Comedy drama?
Comedy drama.
Kim's Convenience, third season, about a Korean family who owns a convenience store in Canada.
Uh-huh. Canada. Oh, man, those guys are crazy. Oh, it's Canadian television, too.
Yeah. It's...
CBC.
I loved the first two seasons. because I always talk about representation being important, and I feel like it's a very good representation of not only Korean immigrants, but Korean immigrants that aren't that are North American but not American. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So three seasons, 39 episodes on Netflix.
Yeah, it's solid. It's a solid, fun show. It deals with the culture of assimilating to another culture, having come here with your own. But it has like first generation Korean Americans and like
This looks good.
I responded to it because it kind of reminded me of like my family story, like coming here as immigrants and sort of building things, and then being my sisters being like first generation Americans, and it's interesting and it's funny and it's warm and great. So I highly recommend that. What else was I into this week?
I watched because basically yesterday I woke up and I couldn't move my legs, so I just kind of like took some ibuprofen and laid down and made the neighbors take my kids to school. And when you're like kind of sleeping, kind of like in and out, I put on the Netflix show Our Planet. Which is basically, as you can imagine, it's a beautiful like 4K, wonderfully shot. Yeah. But every single they were like pull into like, oh, here is like the orangutans doing some things in their habitat and it's awesome, and here's some like alligators doing their things. Look at this little like plant, it opens up.
Are they actual habitats, or I thought they were just like out in the wild, like they just go out to
yeah, that's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, but their habitat, not
okay. When I hear habitat, I instantly think zoos, and when I hear zoos, I hear animal prison.
No, this is the opposite of zoos.
Okay,
not zoos, basically. So yeah, but at the end of every little segment, they're like, and the orangutans
died.
Close.
Got balls.
The orangutans are likely going to die soon because their environment is being destroyed. And everything. Yeah. Sharks on the coral reefs are going.
Yeah,
the entire planet is shutting down.
Dude, did this is old news, bro. This is old. Like the giant coral reef in like New Zealand, Australia area, like the
Great Coral Reef.
The Great Coral Reef.
Barrier Reef.
The Great Barrier Reef.
Yeah.
70% of it. 70% gone. Just dead. Just no longer alive. A community, like basically an animal commune that was a marine animal commune that was like the biggest, like sort of the litmus test for how healthy
the planet
is. Yes. Doesn't even exist anymore, dog. So
I drifted in and out of sleep for 4 episodes of that. And finally, my leg got better a little bit, but I was so depressed yesterday, all day yesterday,
man.
Because the world is that's falling why I stopped.
Apart. I can't watch those shows.
I know.
Like I love the what was that like
Our Planet or not Our Planet, Blue Planet.
Blue Planet. Yeah. Like the like basically this like a lot of those Blue Planet joints were so good. They were so good and uplifting. But the more that I got into it, the more that I was like, this is not an actual representation of what's going on
anymore.
The planet.
Yes. Because they could just as easily made episodes as long or longer about how we're destroying the planet, and here's all the devastation.
Boop.
Yep.
What you can't see me is I'm touching my nose. Boop. Yes. Yeah, dude. No, don't do it to yourself. Like I avoid anything that has to do with like nature right now, especially after I used to watch this show called Gold Rush.
Okay.
It was like on Discovery, and it was about these dudes who were basically like modern day gold miners. So they would buy a claim, and then a claim that they thought would have gold on it, and then over the course of the season they would try to mine gold out of it, and then at the end of the season they would weigh however much gold that they ended up getting out of these various pockets of it to see whether or not buying this claim was worth putting their family into catastrophic economic, debt.
And was it?
It was never. It was never. Not one time. Dog, prospecting gold. This ain't the 1849. You ain't the 49ers, motherfucker.
Here's the blurb. A depressed economy has radically changed the way many Americans live their lives. For Todd and Jack Hoffman, those changes mean risking it all, including their health, as gold miners in the wilds of Alaska.
It's really compelling television, even though it's scripted and
because they're also being paid,
right? So they're not like necessarily risking it all.
No.
But
if anything, they're doing it for the paycheck.
For the paycheck. But watching them sort of like go through the paces of it, I'm like, who? Really, bro?
Yeah. Yeah. That kind of like that sort of. Are you still talking?
No,
because that sort of leads me into this thing that I was watching earlier today, which is the new Netflix show Black Summer, and it's basically, you haven't heard of it because it just came out today. They just released it, and I put it on because it's basically, you can tell immediately it's a zombie style 8-episode series. So I was like, oh, just like you, I was like, oh, cool, that sounds good. Let's see what this take on zombies are. And I'm like, they're only about half an hour long, 35 minutes, and I watched 3 episodes, and it's just a meh. It's a meh. They don't really go too much into character. Like, if you think, like, Walking Dead is light on, like, I don't know, ideas of what would actually happen during the apocalypse. Like, forget the zombies aside. Like, just the apocalypse of society shutting down, right? This is even lighter than that. This takes place about, like, 2 months, 3 months after there's been some kind of outbreak, but you don't know for sure, but people are being kind of evacuated out of their homes. Remember my home in Indiana where we stayed at for a while? It's like it's set in a subdivision like that.
Okay.
And the military comes and they're trying to get on. There's a whole bunch of different characters. One family is trying to get onto a evacuation sort of like bus type thing. And the daughter gets on, and the husband, basically, it's revealed that he has a wound, so the soldiers don't let him go. So the wife, instead of getting on with her daughter, which, like, if it was me and my kids and I had a wound, I'd be like, you guys go first. Get on the thing. If they let me on, you know what I mean? Great. If they don't, stay on it.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're all going to go to a stadium, basically.
Big cast?
It's the type of cast where they'll introduce you to 3 characters, and then 20 minutes later, 2 out of those 3 characters will be dead.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Which
so
is interesting.
Revolving.
Yeah, but you're not really learning. It's not a lot of character development.
Okay.
It's not bad, but there's something low budget about it.
I see.
Because you're getting a lot of, like, exterior outside shots, zombies with blood, but it's not really very gory, and you're not seeing a lot of destruction yet. Maybe it becomes... Maybe there'll be more later, but I don't know. I don't honestly.
Only 8 episodes though. You're already 3. That's almost a third of the way through.
Exactly, and it's a very meh. But the reason I brought it up is because I think what's interesting about zombie movies and these sort of like these apocalyptic movies and TV shows that are happening so much that I think people are not quite grasping is like there's a huge interest to see the fall of society. You know?
You think so?
I think so. Yeah. Because I think that's in our psyche right now. Because that's exactly what I turned on. Like, I want to see how society falls. I want to see a realistic interpretation of what would really happen when society falls. Because I think that's what's on everybody's minds. The environment's failing. Trump's president.
I mean, I feel like this genre of entertainment, for lack of a better term, because I think it's kind of weird, but it's also kind of telling. Because I feel like Mad Max, like movies like Mad Max, dystopian films about like life at the end of society they've been huge successes for a long time. And I think you may be right, is that like we're generally like, because like I said, the math has existed for a long time about so much of what's happening right now.
Yeah. We know something's up, and we're in denial.
Maybe it's our generation of cats who, because like anytime I post anything about a baby boomers, there's a certain ilk of Facebook person on my feed that tends to come out in like really strong defense of baby boomers, like in this way, and I'm like, look, I'm not saying. I'm not saying you specifically. I'm saying your generation of motherfuckers were the people who were responsible, who were supposed to be the ones shepherding in this new shit, and y'all just jumped on the Ronald Reagan train when he showed up, and now we're all gonna have to pay the consequences for it. And so don't try to get self-defensive. I'm not saying you may have stood up and said, hey, check your privilege that as a third. I'm talking about your whole generation failed, not just you.
Yeah, I think it's really, it's hard because
no one wants to be the one to be like, yeah, our bad, we did that.
And just like the millennials, are going into debt and not finding the jobs they need.
How? Because the people who are supposed to be retiring can't, because they have to work past the retirement age just so they can pay for their health care, their standard of living. Like,
or the people who did retire are really just stuck in the concept of like, you just got to get out there. You just got to get out there and work. It's all out there. And some of it is, but a lot of it's not. Not in the same way that it was in the 60s and 70s and 80s.
Not at all. Like, the wealth gap disparity is something, like, it's crazy. It's off kilter, like, by a lot. Like, the disparity of like people who subsequently, like, the 1% versus the cats who are, like, seemingly getting, there is no, like, I mean, it's rare that we ever talk about, like, this kind of stuff on the podcast. But
because it's such a bummer.
It totally is a bummer. That's why we're always, like, uplifting. What we into is not
the
economic depravity and the fall of fucking society. But a lot of those movies really fucking crush.
Because I would be very interested in writing, creating, watching a show about the slow fall of society over like a 10 to 20 year period, and how that happens, and why it happens, and because we're not really getting that. You know, when you get like zombie apocalypse movies that happen really quickly, there's things that are glossed over. They're not talking about what happens to the nuclear power plants that are never shut down.
There was,
you know what I mean? They're not talking about like,
there was a show called Power. I think NBC ran it for like, look it up, with Juan Esposito. What's that motherfucker's name? The guy who was Gus from Breaking Bad.
Let's see.
And it was about. It wasn't about necessarily a zombie apocalypse, but this guy created these nanomachines, and these nanomachines basically turn off all the electricity on the planet. So for X amount of years, nothing works electrical on the planet anymore.
Okay.
It is
I'm trying to get it to come up. My computer's acting up. But 2014.
And they made, and I honestly, it was it's exactly what you're talking about, like a way of doing like what kind of happens, because all these, like what basically happens is the South rises again.
Ugh.
In this in this weird kind of aggressive way, and it becomes this sort of like
I see. Oh, okay.
Did you ever see this? See this?
Yeah, I think so. It appears James Ghost, St. Patrick, has it all. A drop-dead gorgeous wife, stunning Manhattan penthouse. Is that what we're talking about?
I'm not sure.
This is another TV show called Power, isn't it? It is.
Yeah.
It's on Starz.
No, not that one. No.
It's another TV show called Power?
Maybe it wasn't called Power. I know it was on NBC. It was an NBC show. Juan Carlos Esposito was a star on it, and
keep talking, keep it up.
I'm trying to think of who else. Not Sprint. I don't. It was a lot of like brand new people, like
Esposito.
Is it Espinoza? I think it was
Esposito.
Esposito. Juan Carlos Esposito. Yeah, Juan Carlos Esposito, a Gus from Breaking Bad.
Oh, here you go. IMDb. Okay, I'll find it. But this is also what Rami Malek's podcast is about, Blackout, which is about the country losing power.
Well, yeah, and as it turns out, these nanomachines, they were programmed to do this by like their creator in order to make this point about something or other. And as it turns out, like as the series sort of progresses, you find out like this one guy can like turn electricity back on, and then when he actually does that, sort of like the response, because America, like the presidency, which they thought was sort of obliterated, and like the structure of the government was gone. They had just bunkered themselves and been like waiting for a time when someone would turn the power back on. It actually was a really good series that I felt ended kind of abruptly because it wasn't getting a lot of
he's in a ton of stuff, obviously. Better Call Saul.
Oh yeah.
Dallas and Robo. Dear White People, Westworld, Maze Runner.
Yo, Juan Carlo, his canon's gonna be deep.
Rebel, is it Rebel? No. Once Upon a Time, Stuck, The Get Down, the show. How old is this?
Dude, I'm telling you,
Allegiance.
Allegiance. No.
Family Crisis.
No, it's probably like 5, maybe 6.
Revolution.
That's it. That's the one.
Guys, that's the one. That was 2012 to 2014.
That's the one. Revolution.
Okay. I will look for it.
It's a hell of a good.
Oh yes! Now that I see the poster, I
does it make sense?
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime right now.
Is it?
Yeah, Billy Burke, Tracy Spiridakis,
Revolution.
Juan Carlo Esposito. Yeah. Got it. Okay, I'll check that out. There's a lot of this stuff that's out right now that's sort of about the Fall Society. It's 6.7 out of 10.
They give it. I mean, it's just too easy to write now.
Yeah.
Like with everything that's kind of like falling out with our world. Like I feel like if you're an imaginative enough writer, like you can just go down the rabbit hole of how it can all just fall to shit.
Yeah.
Like The Last of Us did it. Like let's talk about video games. The Last of Us did it.
Yeah, video games been doing it for a while.
Video games have been doing it.
Yeah,
well for a while.
They're putting you right in the middle of it, and you can play it. And
well, The Last of Us was so good based on the fact that like that virus exists in nature.
Yeah,
The Last of Us just presupposes like if it jumped up the food chain a few steps, what it would do.
Well, actually, the episode of Our Planet that I watched talked about a virus that floats through the air in the Amazon, sticks to ants.
Yeah,
they can't control themselves.
Yeah.
They crawl up a plant,
and then
they bite down on the plant, and then exactly. Then all of a sudden this thing like comes out of their head.
That's the virus. That's actually the virus that The Last of Us is
the
based
clickers
on.
get. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so like The Last of Us they just like somebody wrote like what if this actual thing that exists in nature jumped up a few levels on the food chain and was able to infect human beings. Like, and that's how we got The Last of Us, which we all know.
Did you ever play the DLC for The Last of Us?
Hell yeah.
Okay, I never played. I think I might go back.
You should.
Instead of buying a new game, maybe I'll try to play that again.
It's hard. Maybe it was hard for me because I bump up the difficulty on a lot
I did
of those.
too. That's what happened. I tried to play it again. I bumped up the difficulty, and it was so difficult. I was like, wow, I guess I just suck now.
No, it's hard as fuck.
What else you got?
I went down the rabbit hole this week. Speaking of video games, of Division 2.
Yes, still on it.
Because
they dropped new DLC. How was that?
Well, it's not DLC. It's a patch. It was like a patch.
Yeah.
But like I went to the end game. I finally made it to the end game, the initial end game. And the game kind of changes.
Yeah.
From the end game to this new stage, and even I think there's another stage. Like there's like the end game, then there's like the middle end game, and then there's like end game.
Okay.
But it's basically a lot of rinse and repeat. It's very Destiny in that way, where you'll visit a lot of the same places and sort of go through the same kind of missions. But
now you've got bigger guns,
and and you're always trying to get to. And that's what I'll give them credit. Like the one thing I will say, it's buggy as fuck.
Yeah, okay.
It's mad buggy. Like there was literally like one instance where I had to restart my PlayStation.
That's what I was gonna ask.
3 times in the course of like I would restart it and then like get started in the same place and try to do the same action, and then the game would freeze right there again.
No.
It's buggy as fuck.
Yeah.
But when it's not when it's not being buggy, it actually is some really strong and comparable gameplay.
How many hours into it are you?
God, I don't even know. Like having been back for this, this is only my second week back. I went
1 week.
Is it only been a week?
Monday.
Yeah, I came back on Monday, and I basically went down the K hole. I went down the
week and a half.
I went down the Division 2 K hole because I hadn't been able to sit in my space with my sound, with my
surround sound. Yeah, you get that
with my
surround
TV,
sound,
and it's a motherfucker in surround sound, boy.
I bet.
A motherfucker in surround sound. Well, you're hearing like choppers do like supply drops in like off in the distance, where you just ran through a block, and you can see the chopper come across your line of sight in the vision, and you hear it go. Like it's just something about playing in your home station, in your home cave. That like I just went, I poured some hours into it, and like I went to the end game, and then like it changes once you get to the end game. So I was really into the Division 2 this week, but that's only going to be probably for a couple more weeks because Days Gone is coming.
Oh, Days Gone, yeah.
Another
apocalyptic game.
Yeah, a zombie apocalyptic game. Yeah. And it's been getting it's one of those games that I've been clocking for a while because it's been getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And I think that's because they're fine tuning, and they don't. I think they're going to drop.
Fine tuning a video game.
I think when they drop, it's going to be one of those ones that it doesn't have very many bugs. They're going to have very few patches for it, but it's going to be. I think it's going to be a sleeper hit this year.
Yeah.
Because it's been on the radar for E3 for a long time, which I meant to talk about E3 in news, and I just didn't, because E3 is coming pretty soon here, and there's
we'll do a little E3 thing when it comes out. We'll talk about the games.
There's definitely some anticipation for what's supposed to be appearing at E3 this year, and who's coming and who's not, and
Star Wars Celebration is also coming up. We'll talk about that.
We're talking about possibly a new GTA and a new PlayStation. By 2020.
5, yeah. So, I'm not ready. Are you ready for PlayStation 5?
Hell yeah! The way that mine is sounding right now.
Oh,
like,
really? You're like, come on, baby.
Yeah, I'm like, baby.
Stay together.
Yeah, I'm talking to my PlayStation like the way Han talks to the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, come on, old girl.
Fourth radar dish.
Come on, old girl. Like the motherfucker sounds like it's taking off. Like I was in New Orleans last week with my buddy, and I plugged it in and I turned it on, and he's like,
well,
is that motherfucker gonna take off, bro?
He also knocked it off the counter if you listen to that episode when he opened the door.
Well, it wasn't even on the counter. He was literally laying on the floor, standing vertical.
Yes, right.
And he was like, "Bink!" I was like, "Ah!" But no, it had already been making sounds like that before that. Like it's old. Like it was.
If it broke right now, what would you do?
I don't know.
Would you buy another one, or would you buy a Switch?
No, I think I would have to buy something in the interim that's way cheaper.
You would just borrow the Wii U. My kids.
Yeah,
Wii U.
I was gonna say, like, you got a couple fucking systems knocking around here.
I got PS3 now. I got a Wii U. I got a Switch and a PS4.
You don't still happen to have that Legend of Zelda with that thing, do you?
Yes.
Well, then that's what would happen. I would be like, yo, I'm gonna borrow Legend of Zelda until the PlayStation 5 drops.
That would be a pretty good distraction. You could get a good 6 months out of Legend of Zelda.
I mean, I can milk that one.
Yeah.
I can milk that. But there, like, with as many videos as I've watched on that game, like gameplay videos, like I've already have like strategies, because you know you can like beat so many of those things early if you're inventive enough.
Yeah,
if you get a couple of those early items, you can beat some of the higher level. What do they call them in the
demon thing,
the dungeons. You can beat some of those higher level dungeons if you're just inventive enough.
I used to know, but I forgot now. What else? You got anything else, or should we jump into Shazam?
I think we should jump into Shazam, because I left all the really credible stuff at the house. Avengers. I'm starting to watch Avengers at least once a week.
I put on Thor 2, The Dark World, because the only one that I don't know so well.
It's bad.
It's just very mediocre. I don't think it's bad.
You don't think so?
I don't think it's bad. It's just very mediocre. It'll put you to sleep. Mm-hmm. Which you could say that's bad, but if you were in the theater watching it, or if you weren't watching it late at night, like munching on a bunch of stuff. Then...
You know what? You're right. It's not bad. Honestly, it felt like Shazam, because we're talking about Shazam now.
Well, Zachary Levi is in Thor 2.
Is he?
Yeah.
And so is Yamin Hansu.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
No shit. Yeah. I did not know that Zachary was in Thor 2. Who's he playing that?
He plays the guy, you know how Thor's got like his three buddies? I forget what they're called.
Yeah.
The three so-and-so.
Sif and those guys.
I'll look up his name. He plays the guy with like the little like fencing sword.
Oh, is that Zach?
Yeah, that's Zach. That's Zachary Levi. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and Yamin played one of the Dark Elves.
Yes.
Wow. And that boy Yamin, he's been killing it with these comic book movies. He's been in so many.
Yeah.
So many.
Because he plays the wizard, right?
Yeah. He plays Shazam.
Do we need to do a synopsis? You want to do a synopsis?
I can. I can.
Daily Bats. I choose you as champion. Say my name so my powers will become yours. Shazam.
Wait, for real?
Say the key! Say my name. Shazam!
Should we try spoiler free? Let's try spoil free.
You want to do a spoil free?
For 5 minutes.
Okay, we'll try it. All right.
Or I have a synopsis here.
All right. I mean, yeah. Well, what is the
typos?
IMDb synopsis?
Yeah, how many typos are there in the IMDb synopsis? Let's find one. So what was the... we all have a superhero inside us. It just takes a bit of magic to bring it out. In Billy Batson's case, by shouting out one word, SHAZAM! This streetwise 14-year-old foster kid can turn into a grown-up superhero, SHAZAM. That's the general idea.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So he's a kid. He gets power from a wizard.
He's a kid who gets powers from a wizard.
All right, here's another storyline. In Philadelphia, Billy Batson is an abandoned child who is proving a nuisance to child services and the authorities with his stubborn search for his lost mother. Yeah, it's like, first off, like, he's a nuisance. It's like, quit looking for your mom, kid.
Right.
Like I'm ever going to stop doing that. Okay, hold on. However, in his latest foster home, Billy makes a new friend, Freddy, and finds himself selected by the wizard SHAZAM to be his new champion. Now endowed with the ability to instantly become an adult superhero by speaking the wizard's name, SHAZAM! Billy gleefully explores his new powers with Freddy. However, Billy soon learns that he has a deadly enemy, Dr. Thaddeus Sivana, who was previously rejected by the wizard and has accepted the power of the 7 deadly sins instead. Now pursued by this mad scientist for his own power as well, Billy must face up to the responsibilities of his calling while learning the power of a special magic with his true family that Sivana can never understand. General takes on this movie. Spoiler free.
Corny.
5 minutes on
it
the
was
clock.
exactly what I predicted. It was corny as fuck.
Yeah. And you weren't into it?
I wanted to be because it was fine. Like, it was fine as a comic book movie.
Yeah.
But when the basically, you know, the character Shazam is a ripoff of Superman.
Yes.
It's like Fawcett Comics, like the creators, the Fawcett Comic Publications, which I forget the guys who who created it, like CC, like the guys who created Shazam or Captain Marvel. The original Captain Marvel.
DC property, and they named him Captain Marvel.
Well, no, here's the thing. He wasn't a DC property. This comic book company, Fawcett Comics, they basically ripped off a Superman, basically magic. They basically made a magic Superman, and DC, who wasn't called DC at the time, they were called, what were they called? Something else.
Whatever. Just keep going. They were called something else.
They were called something like...
Something else comics.
Something else. I think they were called like National Comics before they were called DC.
Okay.
And they sued them. They were like, "Yo, that's copyright infringement." And they actually, the first time they sued them, they lost the case on a technicality.
Oh no!
So while they were scrounging and like flailing to like sue them again, Marvel swooped in and gained the rights to the name that Captain Marvel and was able to like subsequent. But like,
so it's actually really appropriate that Captain Marvel and Shazam came out at pretty much the same month.
Right?
Yeah.
It was interesting. I thought that it was like, I thought it was a really weird kind of what do they call it, advertising thing, because like,
yeah,
like the history of these two comics like side by side is it's crazy.
Yeah.
So basically, while a national comic, which would then become DC, was trying to get their legs back on them to sue Fawcett again for copyright infringement, Marvel came in, got the rights, not the property to like the actual property,
right,
but the right to the name Captain Marvel.
Right.
And then subsequently, after DC won the copyright infringement thing, they basically just they took all the characters that had been created for Captain Marvel, you know, Savannah and Mr. Mind, like everybody that you see,
the
Black Adam, all those characters. Basically, DC took. They were like, okay, well, we're going to take these and bring them under our umbrella.
Yeah.
So they already had Superman, and then they basically had Magic Superman that they started to write for.
Like, what is his week? Do you read this Shazam comics at all? Do you know his? Because I don't know anything about him. Really.
Like the basically, like his name is an acronym for the powers that he has. Like, he has the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the something of Athena, maybe.
Right.
Zeus. I don't know what the other. I forget what other god's name started with an A.
Mercury.
And the speed of Mercury.
Yeah. Okay.
So it like his powers come from the pantheon of the Greek gods.
Right. Was Shazam a word before Shazam was a comic book character?
No. Well, I
do we know that?
I think that's kind of like the name Shazam came out of the fact that when they brought him back, they couldn't. like they couldn't call him Captain Marvel, so the name Shazam, like the phrase that he used to change into Captain Marvel became the name for him. I think Shazam was just the phrase that he would use to transform. Yes. And then once they lost the rights to the name, and DC had sort of won that, they had to bring him back not as Captain Marvel but as the catchphrase of Shazam.
Wiz Comics.
Wiz.
There you go.
Viz Comics #2 is the first appearance.
1939. So this shit's old.
It's old as fuck.
Old
as fuck. But not older than Superman, because like the crazy thing is this is what happened. Like, so Superman came out first, and then Captain Marvel came out, and Captain Marvel became wildly more popular than Superman.
Yeah.
And that's why DC had a problem, or National had a problem. They were like, wait a minute. Yeah, wait a minute. You ain't just gonna rip off our character, call him this. That's Magical Superman. We know what the hell's going on.
They did do it all the time.
And here's the crazy thing. The only thing that, Superman is impervious to all this stuff, but in the comics, the only thing that can hurt Superman is magic. Like he's magic. He's susceptible to magic.
That's smart. Give him some. Yeah.
So
I mean, magic can be what is magic? Magic could be almost anything.
And
right?
that's why what's dope is like they wrote this graphic novel, and I forget the name of it because I just read and forget shit all the time. But where Superman and Captain Marvel have this face off. Like basically, it's like a superhero
Captain
armor.
Marvel from Marvel?
No, Captain Marvel from Shazam.
Shazam. Okay.
And Superman have this face down in this book. It's basically like the superheroes have had this superhero arms race, kind of like in Civil War, and it's come to a head. And Lex Luthor has mentally has Shazam, Billy Batson, mentally subservient to him as like his butler, and he basically has this face off with Superman. He almost kills Superman, and Superman has to end up. Superman has to kill has to kill Shazam, who's under the control of Lex Luthor, in order to sort of like quell this superhero Civil War that's happened. Yeah. And it was basically DC's take on the Civil War, well before Marvel had decided to do a Civil War comic.
Yeah, I think I've seen the art for that.
You probably. I mean, it was a great. I don't know if it.
Do you remember what it was called?
It was a. I cannot.
Okay. But I know what you're talking about, because it has that very it's almost like hyper realistic superheroes, right?
Yes.
That artist, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got the big bodies, but he looks like he's 50.
Right.
50, but with a really good big body.
Right.
But not like jacked, but just big.
Like Vince McMahon now.
Like he eats, and he's pretty good.
But
not too fat.
It's so for the movie it was fine. You know how like in every comic book movie you've ever seen, there's been like at least one moment in it where you're like, even the Justice League, there's that one moment in it where you're like, that's cool.
There was not a moment.
There was not one moment in this movie where I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Not one.
I'm sorry.
Not one. I was bored to tears, to be honest. I was like, "This is fine," but like,
I'm really sorry.
This is like eating vanilla ice cream
at all.
Well, then,
and this is sort of why I wanted you to come with my kids, because they got really into it.
Of course, they're gonna get really like by the end of that movie when the Marvel family gets revealed, like you had to. Well, you didn't.
Yes,
but I saw that coming. From that initial,
okay, well, hold on, because we're in spoiler territory.
Well, now. I mean, it's been hasn't it been 5 minutes?
Well, hold on. Okay, from this moment going forward, I liked it.
Ugh.
I think it's worth seeing. It is an origin story movie. I think if you like Spider-Man: Homecoming, it's like that, but not quite as good.
I think it's worth seeing, but not in the theater.
Okay,
I think you should see it. It's fine. It's a decent comic book movie.
Better than Wonder Woman? Yes or no?
No.
Better than, what's the other DC movie? Aquaman? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. So there you go. That's your. I think
that's mine. No,
I don't think it's better than either of those movies either. But it was fun to see it with two girls actually.
Yeah, right.
They didn't.
Honestly, I feel like if this is definitely a family friendly comic movie. Yes. Like if I had a family, I would take the family to go see this. This is definitely one of those like family comic book movies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
I made the mistake of being like, I think Rob's coming.
And I went and saw it by myself, like in the theater at like 12 o'clock yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there like with a dude who was just like munching like a barrel of popcorn and being like, bro, all right.
Yeah. Well, you know what happened to us? We had those like assigned seats, like J6 through 12 or whatever it was. Maybe not that many, 6 through. And so we walk in and it's like theater's packed, right? And I got all this like food and candy and stuff, and I can see 3 of our seats, but there's not a 4th. And it takes
4 and 5. You got to move.
Exactly. So it took me a moment to be like, I had
ours.
to check because you're like, you think you got to pull up your phone. You're like standing there in front of everybody trying to figure out because I don't want to just be like, you're in my seat, man. I got to have proof. So I finally pull up the ticket, then show it to this dude, and he's like, oh yeah, and he scoots over. I'm like, you knew that was not your seat because you had scooted away from the other person to have a seat between. You watched me stand there with my family looking for my seat.
When you could have just easily been like,
you could have just been like, oh yeah, this is me. I'll scoot over. Whatever.
Which is another reason why I was like, man, remember, because I had asked you a couple of times, I was like, man, do I need to see this in the theater, bro?
I thought you would have liked it more than you did.
I did. I exactly what I expected it to be is what it was.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with a property that's basically a rip-off, I was like, what possible? What could they do to make? Like, honestly, the coolest part about the movie, the best part of the movie for me,
spoiler zone right now.
Spoiler for me was when I realized I was like, what was the rating on this? Because this wasn't PG-13, was it?
Yeah.
This was PG-13?
Yeah.
Well, the scene where, oh boy, after he gets his powers and he walks into the boardroom and he releases the 7 deadly sins and that thing bites that dude's head off, I was like, oh.
Venom, he bit dude's head off all the
time. Yeah, but they
Venom.
didn't show it to you like this.
I know.
They, like, this demon basically, they showed him getting his head bit off.
Yeah,
and then
it was a little scary.
Well, it was awesome. I was like, oh, that was the whoa moment for me. I was like, oh, well, that was cool.
Yeah.
And then nothing else after that.
Yeah.
The best part of it was the best part of the movie for me was that boardroom scene where he walks in and he's flexing nuts on his dad and his brother and he's like, do you think you could throw me out of this boardroom right now? And his brother's like, what? And he just picks him up and throws him out the fucking window.
Yeah, awesome.
That was the dopest part of the movie for me. When the villain is entertaining his power, no, it shouldn't have been. It should have been all the things that Marvel was doing, and none of that was impressive to me. I was just like, yawn, he caught a bus. Yay.
Yeah. And exactly. That was his biggest example.
Wow. You caught a bus?
You know what I thought was going to happen too towards the end too? Like I thought the FBI was going to come to his house. I'm like, yeah, you've been stealing all this money from these from these ATMs. Oh yeah, you also did all this damage. You know what I mean?
It was corny, bro.
You caused that bus to basically fall.
Fucking corny. And like
I
said, maybe if I had if I had seen it with my family, I'd have enjoyed it more. But I just found myself eye rolling the whole time. I was like, this is like I was amused, but I wasn't like amused in the way that I was like, this is awesome, this is cool. I was amused in the way that I was like, this is hokey and this is. Ugh.
There was joy in the theater, I think, with little kids. Yeah.
And I could see this being like I feel like little kids would really get down on this. But like as an adult sitting there watching it, I was like, I went home and I watched Avengers. I needed something to cleanse the fucking palate. I was like, ugh.
Did you like Jack Dylan Grazer, who played his buddy Freddie Freeman?
Yeah, I mean, like
he was good.
Like it was fine. Like all of the acting was fine.
Right.
All the kids were fine. Like you knew that they were like at least I'll say again, I knew that they were eventually going to show them as the Marvel family.
Okay.
Because that's one of the more iconic things that happened in the...
nothing about the comic, which I think helped me, to be quite honest.
And I think that hindered me.
Laurel predicted the end, but when he said, grab the staff, I'll say the word Shazam, or I'll say my name at the same time. Billy. Yeah. No, I mean, Shazam. Right? That, to me, like, I was like, oh, like, that...
Oh, you hadn't seen it coming.
I mean, once it happened, I was like, I realized, okay, that was a moment when I was eating popcorn. I should have probably realized there were 7 seats, and that was going to come, and there were like the exact amount of like kids that blah blah blah. So I see that it was definitely like foreshadowed, beforehand. But to me, that was a really interesting moment. I liked it. I liked it. I liked the wizard. I thought the wizard was crotchety. And
you mean Yaiman?
Yeah, I liked Yaiman, man. He was crotchety and weird.
You know what I think it was? I think my issue, a part of my issue was I didn't like the costumes.
Yeah,
there's that one instance.
I agree.
There's that one instance where like the kids are popping shit about like this new superhero in Philadelphia, and he's like, his costume's stupid, and I was like, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
and that's not like that's actually typical. Like the design of it, that's the way the costume is from the comics.
Yeah.
It's just it just looks so cheap.
Yeah.
Like the giant buttons. But
you could imagine being like 15, 16 and really loving this movie, don't you think?
No.
No?
No. 15 to 16-year-old now?
Yeah.
No, I feel like if you were a 15 to 60-year-old now, you'd be like me. You'd be like, man, that shit's corny as fuck. What the fuck are we talking about?
I guess you're right. There's so many superhero movies.
I'm saying,
now.
like, Man of Steel, like he kills a guy in Man of Steel.
They killed
many people.
They kill buildings.
They killed many people in Man of Steel, and people were still like, ugh. This one was, it was saccharine Superman, and for me, I am well past the age of fucking anything saccharine.
Isn't Mark Strong also the bad guy in Kick-Ass? Is he that guy in Kick-Ass?
No, but he is the old boy that teaches Eggsy in
right
in Kingsman.
In Kingsman, I thought he was the bad guy. Oh, so he's going to be okay. So Mark Strong, he plays Savannah.
His canon is deep as fuck too.
Who I thought was going to be Black Adam, even though I don't know much, but that's going to be Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah, that's The Rock. So basically, Savannah, the rise of Savannah is because of Black Adam was the Court of Seven's first champion. Right. Like basically that little bit that Yaiman tells him. Right. That's exactly what happens in the comics.
Yeah.
Black Adam was the first champion that they gave it to. Like he was like some sort of slave from some sort of time period, and his country was Karnak or Kardak, or it's like a made up Middle Eastern country, and he was a slave. And so when they come and find him, they give him this power, and then he basically flips on them.
God, and the name they give him is Black Adam?
No, I think that was the name he gave himself, but because the word
DC in general.
Oh no, but because of that's it's right on the nose a little bit.
A little on the nose there.
Black Adam,
no shit.
No, but he's like the Middle Eastern kid who's like a slave, and then they give him the powers of Shazam, and he basically frees his country, but then unleashes the 7 deadly sins.
So in the first section of the movie that we get Dr. Savannah as a kid, and basically the wizard Shazam brings him to his magical lair, right?
Right.
And then he shows him, here's my staff. If you put your name here, and say the name, you'll have all my powers. Right. But I first have to see if you're pure of heart.
Right.
Right. And he shows him the deadly sins and thing. And they talk to him and basically are like, they convince him to kind of like take that power instead. To convince him, right, because he's not pure of heart. Later, when the wizard gets super like desperate and pulls Billy Batson in.
Well, see, there was a continuity problem for me right at the top of there because Savannah shows up, he finds a way back to the realm, to the Rock of Gibraltar,
right?
And then he has basically a battle with the wizard, and then doesn't kill him to take his power. Why?
No,
why did he take his power then? And like it basically jumps like. He's whooping the wizard's ass. He has the eye now, and then the movie jumps, and then the next time you see the wizard, he's calling Billy Batson to him. So like I was like, wait.
Yeah.
How do you get from you laying on the ground, getting your ass handed to you by the new champion of the 7 deadly sins to you calling Billy Batson? How did we...
I guess like once the deadly sins were inside Savannah, they wanted to get out of there, but why didn't they kill the wizard?
Why did they take his powers right then when that's basically what all he had to do was literally pick up the staff.
I see what you're saying. Yes. All he had to do was pick up the staff and say the power. That's a good question.
Like like right from the top, I was like,
because later they're like, he's the only person that can beat you. Well, maybe you should have
done with that when you had him like on the fucking ropes.
Like, didn't multitask. Come on, man.
And so like this was literally in the first third of the film. I was like,
yeah,
okay.
Well, to my point,
fine, sure.
It's not a
Billy Batson. Great.
It's like, so he decides quite desperately to bring Billy Batson in. He's going around checking on all these people throughout time, trying to find somebody pure of heart, and they keep failing. That's how the Doctor ends up finding his way back and getting the power. But then he gets Billy Batson there. It was like this desperate attempt to but Billy Batson is never like, he never has to prove if he's pure of heart because the power is already in Savannah. The deadly sins are not there anymore. Mm-hmm. So he's not necessarily a better...
that's the thing. He didn't have to prove himself pure of heart.
Yeah.
He was just, okay, I guess you're the closest thing I got right now, player. Good luck. Blah.
Until the end, basically, when he has that power, right?
Right.
But by then it's already resolved that he's found his mom, realized she's a bad person, and gone to what his other family is, his found family, essentially. Right. So for him to pick up the power then and be like, oh no, just kidding, it doesn't have any power over him. It's like, well, yeah, no shit, because you already resolved the major issue in your life.
Yeah.
Dr. Savannah had never resolved that issue.
Yeah.
His father was there, and his brother didn't believe him.
And
they
his
were
father
jerks,
was a dick.
and they were dicks.
Yeah.
And so then you give this kid like the chance to like be powerful, and he goes down that path, and you tell him that he's wrong, and send him back to this car that has this accident. It's sort of like, it's a dick move.
Well, this is why I was kind of like I kind of felt where Savannah was coming from,
which I enjoy. Actually, I enjoy that, but it's from just a general story perspective.
Right.
They're not necessarily better people than the others.
Right.
It's the circumstance
that they were
led
both
them to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which makes you think of, what the fuck? This is supposed to be a comic book movie. I'm supposed to leave the theater being like, that was cool, that was awesome, and I was just kind of like,
I don't mind the gray area.
Like the best part of it for me, I was like seeing Megan Good. I was like, oh God, Megan, you still look gorgeous, girl.
Who is she?
She basically was the adult version of the black girl.
Oh yeah. She did look good. She could run really fast.
Like,
what was the other? That was my only other kind of complaint, is that when they all kind of like become Shazam themselves, or the powerful legendary seven or whatever they're called.
Marvel family.
Yeah, the Marvel, is that what they're called? Marvel family. They don't have like distinct powers. Like, she can run fast.
No, they're basically just all.
Freddy can fly.
Yeah, they basically just have the same powers as
Shazam.
It's just that whoever the individual is focusing on that one. Whereas Shazam, he kind of has control or more control over all of them. They each kind of take a distinctive one. Like the big guy, he's super strong, and the small girl, and she's really, really quick.
Yeah.
And the guy who's immobile in real life, he can fly now.
Yeah.
It's corny. It's corny as fuck.
Yeah. It's also from 1939, so.
But like, that's what I'm saying. It's also from 1939, and it's a ripoff of Superman.
It's not the worst, though.
It wasn't the worst, because Justice League still holds like the worst title.
Yes.
But even in Justice League, there was that moment where I was like, "Huh, that's cool."
I had a few that's cool moments
in Shazam.
In Shazam,
please talk about it.
The only cool moment in Justice League is when the Flash is like running around.
Right, right. When they first meet Superman after they resurrect him, that was the best scene in the movie for me. I was like,
the only cool moment in Justice League.
Right.
Shazam. I like.
There's a few. Well, speak on them, because I
like the sequence when they're figuring out his powers, and I think they could have done a little more there. Like if you
the trial and errors.
Yeah, the trial and errors was fun.
Okay.
Can you fly? I don't know. Are you bulletproof? I don't know. Let's check it out.
But that's still not just like a that's cool moment. That's just like a
yeah. It's another origin story movie. It's the thing, you know.
I guess
the difference between this and Homecoming, though, is Homecoming has that great twist at the end where Spider-Man realizes that the girl that he goes on the date with, her dad is Michael Keaton,
right?
And suddenly the movie gets kind of dark in a good way.
It gets mad dark. He pulls out a gun on him. Yeah. He's like, "Baby, he's gonna see you in there. I gotta have a conversation with Peter real quick." And then he proceeds to take out a gun and rest it while he's having mad dark. I was like, whoa. And then Peter's like, all right, I guess I'm gonna fuck off now.
Yeah.
No, I gotta go whoop your ass.
Yeah.
You gotta get your ass whooped.
Yeah, super, super interesting. That level of emotion doesn't really happen in this
not
movie.
At all.
Yeah.
There's not at all. Like I cared about Spider-Man in Homecoming. I cared about old girl whose dad that was. I cared about Michael Keaton's character, even the Vulture. I cared about. I didn't care about none of these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I didn't care about them kids. I didn't care about them foster parents. I didn't care about nobody. Billy, I was like,
yeah. Well, also, I definitely saw kind of that twist with the mother coming, because I'm like, look, you can't just lose a kid.
Dude, and that was that literally was the first thing I said. Well, like as it was happening, I was like, "What mom would feel her kid's hand, leave it, and not lose her mind to be?" And like him like following through, I was like,
as implausible as that is,
as implausible, I suspended my disbelief.
All she has to do is go to the cops. Then when she doesn't show up to the cops, then I'm like, okay,
yeah.
Now she didn't. Yeah.
Well, honestly, this part of the movie was actually a benefit for me. Is when they they show the two instances
Yes.
of that moment, but from each one of their perspectives.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's actually a really good choice that they did there.
Yeah.
There.
That's interesting.
I actually liked it because I was like, I was like, what mom wouldn't? And it explains in her view of it what mom would.
Right.
A mom who is 17 years old, who's doesn't have the dad around, whose own father has kicked her out because of it. And this is sort of like, I could like, it seems kind of shitty to do that, but like the shittiness of how she leaves her son kind of plays into the shittiness of that moment where he comes up face to face and he's like, I found my way back.
Yeah.
Like that
thing.
I even
and
like
she
that.
didn't even recognize it, which I love.
Love
that.
that.
Because we put importance on memories, and it happens just as we grow up. We think that was a really important moment, and then later you try to talk to your parents about it, and they don't have no clue what you're talking about. But that was the thing that it shaped my life.
Right.
And it's like,
it was for me the most poignant part of that movie. Not all that like I'm gonna resolve to be with a family of my own choosing. It was that moment when he's like, yo, you actually need this more than I do.
Yeah.
That for me I was like, where was this?
Yeah.
For the rest of this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And then she promptly
threw it in the trash. Well, yeah, probably, but we won't know because the last scene we see of her, she's holding it while he's walking away from her in that hallway.
Right. Yeah. She'll come back for sequels.
No, she won't.
When they need some kind of emotional impact.
Honestly, you think they're going to make a sequel to this movie?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh yeah.
You think it'll do well for enough that they will?
It did well.
Did it?
Yeah. I'll find the money on it here in a second. But it did do well.
It was corny to me.
Yeah.
It was, like I said, it was fine. It's like having ice cream, vanilla ass ice cream.
I agree with that. I think if you'd seen it with my kids who thought you were going to be there. And like got inside the movie theater and we're like, "Where's Rob?" And I was like, "Oh, he's not coming, guys." And
you waited till the movie, but you knew well before the movie that I wasn't going to be there.
I had forgot that I told him that you were coming. You want to feel like dead weight? Tell your kids that their buddy's not showing up. Daisy was not happy.
Mother of monsters.
You only get so it has a $53 million box office opening. Yeah, it was about a $90 to $100 million budget.
Okay. Did you stay through all the credits?
I did, yeah.
Was there an ending scene after the initial ending scene?
What was the first ending scene?
Where
he's in jail.
Where he's in jail,
and he's writing on the wall trying to figure out the script.
And then he gets.
And then there's a caterpillar.
Yeah, Mr. Mind.
No, I think that's it. That's the only one. Yeah.
What? So I mean,
what? I don't know. Like there's a talking caterpillar. I know that he has. Apparently, you could see him in the Cave of
Wonders. Yeah, at the very top. Yeah. Which, another part of it, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Like, where? Yeah.
Why is Mr. Mind a Venetian... He's an alien.
Oh, really?
It's a Venetian caterpillar.
Yeah.
Because in the origin story of Dr. Savannah, Dr. Savannah goes to Venus and finds Mr. Mind.
The planet.
Yes, the planet Venus, because... In these early Captain Marvels, they interspace travel. Well, that's how there's Captain Marvel or Shazam disappears for 20 years. He disappears for 20 years in the comic, like in the real world, like comic book life. Like they just stopped making that character for 20 years. And how they got around that was that Dr. Sylvana, who also has a family, they captured the Marvel family. And then they crash into this sphere that entraps them for 20 years.
Oh.
And that's how they get around, so when they bring him back, that's how they bring him back. The orb or whatever drifts close enough to the sun so that it's soft enough that the Marvel family was able to then escape from it. Thus,
Yeah, okay.
I don't even know what the relevance of that story was, but...
Well, you know what the relevance of the Shazam name is? According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, the word Shazam is used to indicate an instantaneous transformation or appearance, which is due to its unexpected origin in the pages of a superhero comic. But in the context of those comics and the invention of the word Shazam, it was originally an acronym that summed up the different powers which Billy Batson was imbued with. S for wisdom of Solomon, H for strength of Hercules, A for stamina of Atlas. Z for the power of Zeus, and the courage of Achilles. Right?
All dudes.
And
I don't know why I thought Athena.
The speed of Mercury. Yeah.
Athens and Achilles. Yeah. I don't know why I thought they would ever give him the powers of a woman.
No, of course not. Yeah.
But yeah, I really wanted to like this thing more than I did.
I'm sorry that you didn't, because I kind of pushed you to go see it, because I really thought you'd come out and be like, yeah, it was pretty good.
It was almost identical to what I expected it to be. I just
superhero fatigue, maybe.
Origin
story fatigue.
No, because I literally have been watching Avengers almost once a week.
No, yeah, but that's what those are things that you already enjoy and have like an emotional
attachment
to.
I don't mind origin stories if I like the characters. I just thought that, like, as a character like Billy, like the character of Shazam, aka Captain Marvel, it always kind of didn't resonate that hard with me, because like I was like,
yeah,
this guy, this is a knockoff Superman that isn't nearly as cool,
right?
Like in the montage where they're like trying to figure out his powers, like he didn't have any of the cool ones, other than like flight and like lightning and speed. Like flight, Superman's got; speed, Superman's got. Lightning is your only real power, and even that's corny as fuck.
Do you think Billy Batson is actually pure of heart?
Hell no! Like he says, I don't think anyone is.
Yeah.
I think that's like the fact that Shazam had been waiting for a pure of heart.
Yeah, he screwed himself.
Yeah, he totally fucking screwed himself.
He could just give it to Savannah. I think if he'd given Savannah the power, Savannah probably would have grown up to be a
better dude.
Yeah. Did you like the design of all the 7 deadly sins?
I did.
Those statues were cool. But
the design work is cool. Like a lot of the like set work was really cool. Like, I finally remembered one of the things I was into this week.
Yeah. What?
Deadly Class. I finished Deadly Class.
Oh, I watched the first 2 episodes of that.
I finished it this week. Anyway, well, I'll bring it up next week because I'll have my notes back then.
Burp or fart, real quick, so I know if
I think burp.
Okay,
I think burp in a major way, but it's with caveats.
Yes, it does have caveats.
It needs caveats.
That's Deadly Class we're talking. We'll talk about it next. I'll watch it. You know what? I'll finish it.
You should,
and then
we should talk about it.
What about Doom Patrol? Are you still on that?
It was also like the standard things made the rounds this week as far as what I was into. Doom Patrol it's hella good.
Okay,
and maybe. To your point, I don't know Doom Patrol's properties as much as I do some of the other ones. But in watching it, they definitely are nodding and peeking their hat to classic things from the comics that I don't know for sure, but I'm like, that's a character from the comic and that's an iconic they'll do something and I'll be like, that's iconic from a panel in the comic. I'm almost positive of
anything Brandon Fraser does is iconic. Anything.
Well. The fact that they don't have his mug plastered all over this, he's just. I don't even know if he's on set for any of this.
Right? He's just doing the voice.
He's just doing the voice.
He's just doing voice work. Yeah.
So like they could have anybody in the suit and the prosthetics, and he just shows up and to his voiceover sessions to just do the voiceover work. Because other than like the first episode, he's not really in it.
Yeah.
Even in some of these flashbacks, they don't really show him in them. So
yeah, I've been itching to watch it, but
you should. Yeah. It's really good. Like it's better than most comic book episodics on television. And I say that having watched Daredevil, having watched some of these other ones, it's off the beaten path, but it's in that same vein of honoring the source material but telling a really dope and interesting story.
Yeah. Well, so it says here that apparently Ron Cephas Jones was cast as the Wizard, but scheduling conflicts forced him to back out, and he was replaced with Damian Hansu.
Yeah, I feel like I think Ron would have probably been a better choice.
Yeah. It says Mark Strong has been openly enthusiastic about playing Savannah.
He was great.
Describing him as an evil bastard and saying how those roles are always fun to play.
He was great.
Actually, I really enjoyed the kind of gray ambiguity of his character.
Me too.
And the fact that like you felt for him as a kid, so he turns out to be this bad guy early on. But it's also kind of questionable, like how is he being? What actions of his are being controlled by the 7 deadly sins or envy that was always inside him?
Well, there's that great scene where he's gone back to the Rock of Gibraltar, and Billy's trying to tell him like, look, they're playing you, yo. They're you're or was it the Rock of Gibraltar? Yeah, it's a scene where Billy's trying to convince him like, yo, you shouldn't be listening to the 7 deadlies. They're trying to get you in a bad way. And you almost think for a second that he's going to listen, but obviously he's not because they have to have this climactic battle.
Right.
But
Yes.
But just that
always have to the battle.
But just that the fact that he was entertaining the thought means that he wasn't necessarily inherently an evil or a bad guy.
Right.
Product of circumstance, victim of because
I feel like it would be something I would do if you showed me that there was real magic and there was this place to go, and then suddenly took it away from me. I feel like I would spend a lot of energy in my life trying to figure out how to get back.
Yeah. Right.
Especially if I had an awful father and brother and family.
Especially if you got blamed at, because right after that happened, like his father lost his legs. That accident, and then you could imagine just being blamed constantly. Growing up, I'm in this wheelchair because of you. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Henry Cavill was in talks to reprise his role as Superman for the cameo at the very end there,
which they
but
never
he wasn't able to
face.
do it because of Mission Impossible Fallout scheduling. Right.
Yeah. Wouldn't matter. They didn't show his face, so
it's weird that we didn't even need that. And so when they didn't show his face, I was like, "Yeah, we didn't even need Superman to come into this at all."
We didn't need the actual Superman and Superman of Magic. We didn't need that shit.
Exactly. So throughout the film, Billy Batson's superpowered form gets a variety of different names without getting an official name. This is an homage to the controversy over Captain Marvel's name. It keeps changing between different titles: Captain Marvel, Shazam, Captain Thunder, due to the issues with rival company Marvel having a similar name as well as a similar hero called Captain Marvel.
No, Marvel just waited for the dust to settle and was like, ain't nobody using this? Cool. Joink.
One of the doors in the Rock of Eternity reveals a room of sentient crocodiles playing poker.
Yeah.
These are the crocodile men, enemies of Captain Marvel. Okay, cool. I'll give you one more bit of little just on-the-cuff trivia here. Let's see what we got.
Bill Parker and C.C. Beck. Those are the names I was trying to remember earlier.
Zachary Levi packed on 20 pounds of muscle for the film, putting his weight at 220 pounds. In an interview with Michael Rosenbaum, who is from Indiana, Evansville, he has his own podcast. I forget what it's called.
Really?
Called something like Inside You, I think it's what it's called.
Inside You?
You know Michael Rosenbaum. He's Lex Luthor
yeah,
from Smallville.
He's from
So
I forgot he was from Evansville?
Yeah.
You didn't go to high school with you, did you?
No, I think he was a year older than me.
Oh, okay.
So his podcast is pretty popular. He had a younger brother that was... What was that?
I said you played Lex Luthor on Smallville.
Yeah, exactly.
For a number of years.
That'll get you some listens. And yeah, so anyways, Rosenbaum gets Levy's weight at 215 pounds, but Levy proudly and quickly corrected, saying that his weight was at 220 pounds. Yeah, he got big for this.
Yeah. That was the other thing. I was like, well, that boy Zachary put it on for this.
Oh, here's another one. John Glover, who plays Thaddeus Savannah's father, the guy in the wheelchair.
That dude is a beast. He's got a filmography like a motherfucker, too.
So he has a history in the DC universe as the voice of the Riddler in Batman's The Animated Series.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Dr. Jason Woodrue in Batman and Robin, and as the father to another DC villain, Lionel Luthor in Smallville.
That's right. He plays Lionel Luthor's dad. Yes.
Two Smallville connections, just like that.
Well, dude, he was in Smallville. He plays Michael Rosenbaum's
dad.
Yeah.
Lex Luthor's father. Yeah. Oh, yeah, so this is Mark Strong's 5th comic book feature after working on Kick-Ass, Green Lantern, and the Kingsman films. So he's in all those.
Yeah. You should look up Yaiman, because Yaiman's been in, he was in that he does a lot of fantasy and comic book shit.
Yeah, because...
he was in that movie with the dragon egg that hatches, and...
Ooh, what was that?
What is it called? Aragon?
Aragon, probably.
Is that a dragon movie?
Yeah, there's
Aragon.
Yeah.
He was in that.
He's in an upcoming movie called Blazing Samurai, which sounds awesome. Whatever that
Samurai,
is.
Huh?
He's in the upcoming Charlie's Angels, upcoming Kingsman: The Great Game.
Yaiman is?
Yep. He was in Captain Marvel.
Yeah, he was.
Correct. So he's
which is funny. He makes his money in the sci-fi fantasy realm.
He was in Aquaman as the voice of King Riku.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know who that. Maybe it's one of those weird, like, little trench
people.
Or whatever. Yeah,
he's in
right. Dragon's Race to the Edge TV series.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he was in. I think he was in the movie. That one of the. I think the second or third How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah. Oh, he's in that movie Seventh Son. Is that what you're thinking of? With what's his face?
No, but I know the one you're talking about.
God,
no,
what is it?
I know the one you're talking about, but no, this is. I think it was called Aragorn.
Jeff Bridges is in that one. Seventh Son. That movie's bad.
I liked it.
You liked
it's bad, but I liked it.
I think we all liked it too. Yeah. Well, we can keep meandering on this, but I
feel like I wanted to be excited about Captain Marvel, but I kind of knew what we were getting into once they showed us the trailers, and it just...
You're right. You psyched yourself out for it.
It's not even so much that, sometimes I like being, surprised by it. This one was exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Is Captain Sparklefingers.
No, it's not. That's not my name. Chosen one.
Oh, you're like a bad guy, right?
You literally did the opposite of what a superhero is supposed to do.
Yeah. Any comments this week? Anything?
I got some comments from my mom.
Little loving early in the morning. Comments!
I can't find them.
What mom say?
Well, she was like, I don't think she actually wants me to read. I think she changed her mind.
She's like, these are scathing critiques.
No, I think she was talking about something about, hold on, I got to get out of this one because I wasn't actually preparing to read them, and now I'm like, give me a second, let me check this out here.
Don't be putting mom on blast if she don't want to be on blast.
No, it wasn't. She was talking about how the military takes care of their warriors.
Yeah?
Yeah, military retirees.
Oh.
She says, I'll read a part of it. She says, hi, Larry. Hi, Rob. Just had to comment on something I heard you say about the military not taking care of its warriors. As you know, I live in Florida and surrounded by 5 military retiree families. They range in age from the 60s to 70s. They were all in the military. 3 of the 5 families used it as their career. They all live in 500,000 homes with pools. They drive new cars. All their medical expenses, including any operations, are fully paid for. There are hospitals and doctors set aside just for their use. They can utilize a nearby Air Force base for reduced costs for their food, clothing, etc. They all have received great educations and have lived and traveled the world. They get very good military pensions and Social Security. I am the daughter of an Army colonel. I am very grateful for all their sacrifices. I don't deny that some of the younger soldiers have been treated less than admirable. I can't say that word. Admirably. And certainly there have been medical challenges, but I did think you needed to know that there is a proportion that are very well cared for, just trying to keep it real.
Go ahead, Bob. Which one of us said that?
I don't know. I couldn't remember what I was saying. I'm going to blame it on Rob. Then she sent me back. She said, I read those comments again, and wow, it sounds harsh, which is not my intention at all. I just wanted to point out that the military does try very hard to take care of its own, and I think it does succeed in many cases. Also, my frustration at their political beliefs, yet I understand completely if you have been given housing, medical care, and education training, it must seem to them that we non-military are somehow unworthy and lazy. Because then I think I said, oh, don't worry, Mom, I don't think it was too harsh. We talked about it before, so I know where you're coming from. Because I was also talking about how I have to get an MRI and pay for all this insurance. And basically, what she was saying is all of these people that are in the military, you know what I mean? They have their medical paid for, but they're also, the majority of them are Trump voters. And so they're sort of like, to them, they don't pay for, they don't pay for insurance. And so that's like, they're also trying to take away the insurance. So it's like, well, you know.
Dude, this is interesting that a dude who never served is now responsible for taking care of cats who did.
Yeah. That's So it's a bummer, man.
It's a bummer, man.
This has been a weird episode.
It has been. It has been.
I'm not gonna say bad.
No, it wasn't bad. It took on less of that like sort of light and airy kind of like, popcorn feel that we normally have, and had a little more like dense, like shepherd's pie kind of feel to it. Like I'm not gonna say necessarily savory, but it was thick, like a Guinness. Like
it's somebody put a lot of flour in the sauce.
Exactly, like this did not reduce enough. This needed a little bit more reduction.
Add some water to that. Lighten it up,
everybody. Word. My God. A nice Chianti or some shit.
What do we do next week? So Hellboy came out, but it's supposed to be really bad. Are you going to go see it?
I think I want to.
Okay.
I really want to. But I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna wait till after the weekend.
Yeah.
Hear what the weekend sort of critiques are like once it's actually out.
It's not good. It's not looking good.
I think we should make the decision. Maybe Sunday.
Well, here's my general plan because I'm pretty sure that I won't see it.
Oh, okay.
All right. But I will watch the other Hellboy movies probably before that.
I won't have to. I know those like the back of my hand.
Yeah, because I haven't seen the first one in a long time.
I own the first one.
Yeah, I own them too. I have them both on Blu-ray because I'm dope like that.
Okay. All right.
So if you do get around to seeing it, then you can talk about it. If you don't, we'll talk about that. Because the other thing is Game of Thrones.
Ugh. For sure.
I just want to talk about it with you, Rob. I just want to have a conversation.
I mean, we can talk about it.
Everybody's gonna be talking about it.
We can talk about it.
Everybody's gonna be talking about it every week until it ends. 6 to 7 episodes later.
We can talk about it, but I'm gonna prognosticate a bunch of shit that'll probably happen, and then you'll be like, "Fuck you, Rob! Don't watch this ever." I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna ask you some basic questions about like starting premises, and then I'm gonna predict it as I tend to, and then you're gonna be like, "Fuck you, kill yourself." And I'm like, why do I have to kill myself?
Will you just watch it even though you haven't caught up on it?
Sure. You mean like the new stuff?
Yeah.
All right, fine. Yeah, sure.
It's only an hour.
I mean, sure, it's like I don't need that.
It comes
out
stuff. Sunday. I mean, just watch it.
All right.
The other thing I was going to be into is tonight I'm watching the Twilight Zone episodes, the Jordan Peele stuff.
I mean, he gave you the first episode for free on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was cool.
Did you watch it already?
No.
Okay.
No, not yet. It was on my list of things. I can't believe I forgot my fucking list.
Your list. Bring it next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to because some of that stuff is gonna continue. I finished up a bunch of Deadly Class. I finished up a bunch. I remember I finished off a bunch of episodics that I had wanted to.
Yeah.
Oh, High Score Girl. That was on my list.
Oh yeah. I gotta finish that too.
I finished that up. I really like it. It's
I like the music a lot in it.
I like the music a lot. I like that it's actually like a tactile video game history.
Yes.
They're literally like giving you like Japanese like arcade history as you're going along. And not just Japanese arcade history, but because Japanese arcade history kind of corresponds directly with American arcade history because they had games that we were getting later on. Like,
yes.
Like when he's describing Street Fighter 2 coming out in Japan, it wasn't the same time.
3 years later.
Right. It wasn't the same time that we were getting Street Fighter.
Yeah.
So it's a very tactile like history of video games from a place where video games culture kind of started. Like kind of was at its zenith, golden age, you know what I'm saying? So
cool.
But yeah, shall we
exit?
Well, this is what we into. Thanks for coming out and joining us for week 18. We're 18 years old now.
Yeah, it is 18.
This is week
God,
18.
Legal. No wonder we're depressed.
I'm
falling apart.
I want to get drafted.
Oh, boy.
I got bone spurs.
I can't even drink yet, but they're going to kill us
in
in water.
Kill me.
We're at whatweinto@gmail.com. Patreon.com/whatweinto if you decide that you want to throw us a couple bucks. We'll take it.
Kick it to us.
We are on Twitter at @dial_Lawrence.
Boom.
I think you can also search What We Into. I'm not sure how Twitter works. I don't ever put anything on there, so don't go there. We're on Instagram at What We Into Podcast. I also don't do anything on that unless you want me to. And you can search on Facebook What We Into, and we'll come up. I do put stuff on there. That's easy. I do that much. I'm Lawrence Dial.
And I'm your boy, Rob Carmer Robinson.
Let's go pick up these little ladies from school.
Peace.
From school. Now, we're not picking up little ladies at a school.
See, I mean,
my
context,
kids,
bro.
Picking up my kids.
Context, bro.
Just in case you just tuned in for the last part of the episode.
For the last 50 seconds of the episode.
We're not going to pick up kids. We're picking up my kids.
Not going to do it.
Not pick them up as
not
dicks.
Not going to do it.
All right. Bye.
Peace.
I'm gonna get real small and crawl inside your butthole. Crawl inside your butthole, butthole, butthole. I'm gonna get real small and crawl inside your butthole. Crawl inside your butthole, butthole, butthole. Yo, let me ask you, still gonna